Alrighty, people. A whole lot to talk about. So much news that has
New news.
drastically impacted the landscape of fantasy football, the landscape of the NFL, and we are here to break it all down for you. And we're excited to be here with you. We got a great stream planned. If you want to get your questions in and prioritized, a link is in the chat for you to do so through the website. We will start with website questions today. Of course, when we move to the section of answering questions, but I think we should start off with a little bit of a news update. Does that feel good for you?
Yeah, I mean, feels great for me.
All right, let's go through it real quick. We won't spend too much time, but this is the latest news. So, Taysom Hill is practicing. Who cares? Quentin Johnston is practicing. Who cares? Derek Carr isn't practicing. Who cares? Jacoby Myers officially limited in practice. Honestly, that's great news because I think he's a legit flex option when he comes back. The wide receiver one on his team. I like that news. Dallas Goedert doesn't practice. Calvin Ridley is expected to play, but don't think it matters. If you didn't know about the DeAndre Hopkins trade, we broke that down on a stream earlier this morning, your time. Go check that out, but I don't think the D-Hop trade really helps or hurts Calvin Ridley. I don't think it changes anything. Bucky Irving didn't practice with a toe injury. Tua Tags is back, baby. I'm so excited to have Tua back for all my Tyreek shares and Jalen Waddle shares and Dynasty. Brandon Aubrey, this is probably the funniest, most comical report of the week. He doesn't practice because of jury duty.
Hey, it's a real place, man. It's a real place. You ever done jury duty?
No, never. But I just find that hilarious that, he's in the prime of his career right now, one of the best kickers in the NFL, and then all of a sudden he is having to go to jury duty. He's selected to be on a 12-person jury for a felony case. It's just, that is, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who finds that comical, but I thought that was really funny. Maybe if you own Brandon Aubrey as well, probably frustrating. Cooper Kupp is good to go. He might get 30 targets as they're trying to trade him away. He might get 30 targets on Thursday Night Football so they can try and secure that second-round pick. Risky player at this point. We have no idea where he's going to land or if he's traded. Or if they trade Matt Stafford to the Vikings. Like, so many things are possible right now.
I just wonder why. Like, why would they do that?
I guess for the Vikings, they see like a legit option to win right now, win a Super Bowl, and Stafford helps them do that.
Yeah, they're basically saying like Sam Darnold is just good enough to win his games in season, doesn't have the playoff experience.
Yeah, which I think that's fair. I think that's fair. We've seen Stafford win a Super Bowl on a good team, so I think it makes sense. Deebo Samuel has a chance to play. Alvin Kamara has been playing with a broken hand and broken ribs. Dog. Jonathan Taylor, back at practice. Love to see it. Chris Olave, back at practice. Love to see it. DK Metcalf, not likely to play this week. Bryce Young, this is the big one. Andy Dalton got in a car accident. He is okay. He's fine. But Bryce Young is going to start for the Panthers in Week 8. I already was preparing to have Deontay Johnson on my bust video this week. This just makes it even stronger of a take. In fact, I think I moved him into like the low 40s. Our experts haven't updated their rankings. I have. So my ranking of him is 45 right now. That seems low, but accurate when you have Bryce Young and facing Denver defense. I'd rather play Jacoby Myers, Troy Franklin, Downs, Judy, Shakir, Hopkins.
The whole crew.
Let's see.
Completely agree.
I think that's pretty much it, right? Jaden Daniels isn't practicing, but they're still optimistic. We'll see. Jameis Winston's officially the starter, so legitimately Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy aren't terrible starts this week, as crazy as that sounds coming out of my mouth, but it is true. But yeah, we appreciate y'all for being here with us. Here's how the stream is going to go. We're going to answer as many fantasy questions as we possibly can. We'll do team reviews. We'll answer start sits. We'll answer trade questions. And the questions that are asked via our website will be the ones that are prioritized first, okay? We've been saying this for about a month now, but if you want to get your questions in first, the website's the best way to do it. Every time we start a stream, it will be the first place we go to answer your questions. And if you want to get a question in, definitely check out the link in the pinned comment. And by the way, if you don't have a account yet on Flock Fantasy, you can actually get one for free $95. All right?
Free 95 or free 99?
Free 95. So here's how you do it. All you got to do is go to flockfantasy.com/LAN. I just put a link in the chat. Sign up for a free account with the promo code LAN. And when you do, you'll get the My Team Analyzer for free. So for example, I'll add the Flock League here so you guys can see the latest updates, where you stand in your league with the rankings. The analyzer shows you that. And also, if you're in Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo, it'll be easy to sync up. You get access to the trade calculator, the expert consensus rankings. Again, all for just getting a free account on Flock Fantasy with the promo code LAN. And once you've linked your teams, it becomes so simple to ask a start sit. For example, let's link the Flock League. It automatically links up my settings. I go to continue. I tell you, all right, I'm probably playing Joe Burrow. The rest of my lineup is automatically entered for me. And all I need to do now is tell, you know, the person who's reviewing my team what I'm considering. So in the flex, I am considering names like Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, just as an example, right? And then once you fill out the entire thing, you send it through, and we are good to go. So we appreciate y'all. Again, we will get to super chats, but we'll start on the website. Dynasty questions, redraft questions, whatever the case may be.
Whatever it is, we got.
We do have some Dynasty team reviews, which we won't do at the beginning of this stream. But we do have a redraft team review from Melo BR, which we will start with. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do Melo BR. We really appreciate you, you know, letting us review your team. He says, what moves do you to do preparing for bye weeks and looking to improve maybe at the RB2? Okay, so your team, I don't even know how to even say that.
Ragatanga Bothrops.
There you go. Rangatanga Bothroth. One quarterback, 12 teams start, 7 is non tight end premium PPR league. So looking at Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson. So I think you're fine there at the quarterback position. The running back, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown downtown, Bucky Irving, Rashad White. So there's a couple. I think there was a gap there for a second, and then it has a nice little it kind of evened out at the RB2 position. So let's see what else you have so far.
Like 3 names that can be your RB2 on a week-to-week basis, depending on matchup. So that works.
Yeah. At the wide receiver position, start 7. I think it's 2 wide receivers and a flex.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, so 3 wide receivers you can start. So Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Garrett Wilson. Who Tyreek is essentially coming back with Tua. You have Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, and then Puka is already practicing this week. So you have both Jets wide receivers, and I think that could potentially be interchangeable on a week-to-week basis with Tucker Kraft, which I personally think is probably your downfall. But it all depends on who's maybe on waiver wires, or maybe you can go out and trade for an upgrade tight end here.
On the waiver wire, he's got Taysom Hill, Noah Fant, Eric All. I think Kraft is I just like Kraft. I think he's on a good offense. He's number 1 tight end, you know, so I think he's a decent option. I would be more focused on upgrading the running back too, but we'll talk about it. Why don't we first off just give him a grade from an A to an F? To me, it's a pretty good team, man. That wide receiver room is crazy. I'd say like B+ range.
Yeah, I would say B flat, B+ range. I think there's 2 gaping holes. Shout out to Pat McAfee at the running back room, and then at the tight end room. I would say, from my opinion. But yeah, I think this is a great team, no doubt.
So why don't we look at teams that are running back heavy who need a wide receiver? And I think we can send either Adams or Wilson away, preferably Wilson, in a package to upgrade at RB2. So let's sort your league by running back strength. And Daniel's the first team that comes up. He has Saquon, Mixon, and Dobbins. For example, would you send Garrett Wilson and Rashad White for Joe Mixon? I would do that.
Yes.
In the start 7, this type of format. Yep. Another team here has Breece Hall, James Cook, Jonathan Brooks. I'm not so bullish on making a move there. But the next team that has Derrick Henry and Bijan, their wide receiver room is torched to shreds. So if you can send them, again, a Garrett Wilson and a Zach Moss, a Garrett Wilson and a Rashad White, For Bijan Robinson, that would be absolutely beneficial to your team. This guy's probably not moving Achane Walker. I mean, Brian Robinson would even be an upgrade. I wouldn't send one of those wide receivers for him, but if you can package, like, let's go back to his team. Let's say like Darnell Mooney and Bucky Irving for a Brian Robinson, or Darnell Mooney and a Rachaad White. I think that could make a lot of sense. Any other teams here? I think all these other teams are going to need their running backs based off of the way they're ranked. Yeah. So I think those are the main running back moves that you can make. I don't think you need to make a move at tight end. Now, obviously, Badaki, you see that differently, and that's great that we have two different perspectives here for him to hear.
Yeah.
So why don't you walk us through some deals at the tight end position that you'd be open to then?
Yeah, look, at the tight end position here, it's not that Tucker Kraft is not going to be a viable tight end for you, but I think we're going to see up and down weeks from him. Maybe we can find somebody that's a little bit more consistent. I'm happy to do that, whatever that looks like. The first person that comes to mind is most likely like a Jake Ferguson, if you can get your hands on him, which I'm trying to find here.
Yeah.
And Jake Ferguson has Cole Kmet, so his
what's the team name there? Sorry.
Eeyore.
Okay.
Karofsky, he's 5-2. He has Jake Ferguson, but it doesn't look like there's much that he needs. He has DeAndre Swift from Andre Stevenson,
right. Yeah.
Which is a little bit unfortunate. So that might not be the most ideal move for you right there. I would personally rather have David Njoku as well, but another team that looks like he might be struggling, not struggling. He has Josh Jacobs, James Conner, and he has, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. Now, if he's struggling at the wide receiver 2 position, maybe can you send like a Darnell Mooney, which I'm trying to find your team again, a Darnell Mooney or Romeo Dubs, maybe package those two. I doubt that's going to be able to happen, but try and package one of these lower tier wide receivers that you're probably not going to be starting and start 7, and say, hey, you actually need some depth here because DK Metcalf could be missing week to week. Marvin Harrison Jr. is up and down. Rashid Shaheed is no longer viable. Xavier Legette now has Bryce Young, which is honestly terrible. So I think that could be a potential move that you can make there. But that's the only other one. The other thing I would say is that I feel confident in K. Dalton if he's on waiver wires, which I do not think it looks like he's on waiver wires.
He would have cleared by this last
cycle. So team that's 1-6 has K. Dalton, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
but hey, maybe he's willing to make a move
at tight end. I think you need to make a big splash because I think Tucker Kraft is already a good option. So if you want to make like an obvious upgrade, I think you need to use Garrett Wilson and go get like a Brock Bowers, for example, or a Trey McBride. That's my opinion because otherwise I feel like you're going to get a similar option to Kraft on a week-to-week basis. But any other ideas there before we move on?
No, that's about it there at the tight end position.
Overall, I'd say your team's in a great spot. You're 4-3. You are like one move at running back away from really being in a great spot. Like, this is a team that would have been a great team to trade for Jonathan Taylor, oddly enough, right before he came back, or Joe Mixon a couple weeks before he came back. Right now, most running backs are healthy, which is, I don't want to. Yeah, I mean, let's keep that, right, fantasy gods.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you, man. Great team. I definitely think you're in the playoffs. You have one of the better teams in the league. Again, when you look at the rankings here, we really like your team in our rankings. So we appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love.
I think we're going straight to him again, if I'm not mistaken. He did submit 2 team reviews, which is awesome. And shout out to you, Melo. Victoria's Lions is his next team. It looks like you are first.
Oh, sorry. No, you're good.
I think it's just the same thing. Which moves should I do to prepare for bye weeks and playoffs? Which position should I improve in?
Yeah.
It looks like he's first in expert consensus rankings.
I just want to give him some love real quick because that's 2 team reviews in a row. That's a lot of support on our channel. So I want to give him a free start sit question as a thank you. Appreciate you, man. That's very, very kind of you. But yeah, you are ranked number 1. This is another 12-team start 7 half PPR. So he is ranked number 1 in the league. He's 4-3 again. Why don't we walk through his team here?
Yeah, I'm the quarterback position easily with Lamar Jackson, so you're chilling there. Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift, which Swift has been picking it up, no doubt about it, which has been exciting, and he has another great matchup this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think that's I think that might be an area you might be able to improve in, but we'll wait and see. Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, Tank Dell, Wan'Dale Robinson. So your wide receiver 3 is a little bit weak here. You have one of the best tight ends in Brock Bowers. Just looking through your waiver wires really quick to see who's available. I see Jalen McMillan's available. That is somebody that's somebody that I'm going to go and pick up immediately. That could potentially be your wide receiver 3 on this team. Obviously, you have Tank Dell.
Would you pick up Kendre and drop Braylon or Tyler Algier after the reports of Alvin?
I
would.
No, he's been Algier. Playing. I think he's been. Sure, like Braylon. Yeah, you can drop Algier, but I think he's been playing. He's been playing already, so I think he's just going to continue playing. But yeah, like if it gets any worse, maybe there'll be a game or two where Alvin might miss.
It's just like those are all handcuffs, and there's a window for one of them to work out earlier. That's my only rationale. Is I'd probably pick up Kendre, drop Braylon or Tyler. They're both in roles where they're not really going to be a startable name unless a guy ahead of them goes down, right? So that's kind of where my rationale lies. But the Amari Cooper trade did wonders for this team. Go ahead.
Yeah, no question. I would just say, like, I'm not necessarily sure if this is something I'm willing to do with this team, just because you don't have the depth here, and Wan'Dale Robinson has been a good flex for you in a start 7 half PPR. Maybe I
got a couple ideas which we'll walk through.
Okay.
What I would say is I would drop Leggett. I would drop Leggett for McMillan. That'd be the first move I would make right now.
I'm there with you.
Love Leggett, but with Bryce Young starting this week and with just how confusing that potentially might be with them playing Denver, it's just, I mean, you want a stash that you could actually see paying off, and I don't see that paying off. You'll find out what Jalen's role is pretty soon with no Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Now, the other thing I would do is I would look to improve your flex position. I'm fine with the idea of keeping Lamar and Brock Bowers as these pivotal pieces. You don't trade those guys. Those are staying on your team. Definitely don't trade Jamar or Saquon. You're very top-heavy here, and that's going to lead you to a ton of wins, especially in a start 7. I actually don't mind that. I don't mind DeAndre Swift as your RB2, but what I would like to do is improve that flex spot, because right now you're looking at Dell and Wan'Dale. I'd like to find a way to actually improve that position. So does that mean we can package Tank Dell and Wan'Dale Robinson? Is there a team out there that needs wide receiver depth and we can potentially look at them as a target? For example, this team is 12th. They have Terry, Keenan, Pittman. Would you rather have, I guess that's not a good example because they're not going to give up Terry, but let's look at another option here. Santa Cruz has Addison. Would you send Tank Dell for Addison right now? Like Tank Dell and Braylon Allen, I would consider doing to that guy. I like Addison more long term. How about Chris Olave? I think is a very good buy low right now. So if you can package again a Wan'Dale and a Braylon Allen, for example, and go get a Chris Olave when he comes back with no Shaheed, I think he'll get a lot of targets. That's another option I really like. If you can go get Waddle before Tua comes back and improves that situation entirely, again, a Wan'Dale plus Braylon plus, what was the other running back he had? Algier. Or you could do a Wan'Dale and a Tank Dell package there. Let's see. Can you go get I was going to say Jacoby Myers, but you're kind of overpaying in that scenario if you did that. How about let's just keep looking for options.
Maybe Debo is probably a good one right now.
Debo's a great one. I think you'd have to pay more. That's a problem.
Yeah.
How about Pickens? Wan'Dale and Braylon, or one of those other names for Pickens. I think that's a fine option.
Sure.
With what Russell Wilson looks like. That would be my main goal, is trying to upgrade the flex position. And by the way, like, what you can do is add McMillan, and if McMillan has a good game and Wan'Dale has another game and Tank Dell recovers, after this week you could have an even better chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that's where I kind of lean, like, hey, if you can't get those deals done, I'm actually okay with Wan'Dale and Tank, specifically Wan'Dale. He's been kind of averaging that, 10 to 12 kind of fantasy points per week, and sometimes he has higher games. He gets those targets, which is exciting, but you could upgrade, no doubt about it, there in that position. If not, don't worry. spend your money on McMillan, and you will have, like Zach said, other weeks to then try and trade for higher upside players.
That's really the only area I'd look to improve, man. Otherwise, like we said, the untouchables on your team are Bowers, Chase, Saquon, and Lamar. You don't move those guys. I'd pick up Jalen. I'd drop Leggett. I'd pick up Kindre, and I'd drop Algier or Braylon, whichever one you have less conviction in. Other than that, great team, man. You're definitely going to make the playoffs. And we got you that voucher as a thank you. We appreciate you, man. All right, we got another team review here from BAL, I think it is, or I actually don't know. But we appreciate y'all for being here. If you have yet to do so, be a friend, smash that like button, show some love. We got a like goal today of 75 likes. With your help, I think we can do it. I think we can get there. And if you do want your question prioritized and answered on today's stream, you can donate, but on the website is the best place to get your question prioritized. So why don't we go back to the site here? And for Bal, he says, I'm last in my league and I don't know what to do. The other managers are circling, sending low ball offers for my players. It's getting dark. The sun's going down, big guy, is basically what he said.
The sun's going down, big guy.
We can look at a starting lineup here and
can you click on those images?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I can't. Let me refresh. So you might have to leave this one. I can't open it.
That's all right. So it looks like it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A start 8. Okay. It's a start 8 super flex league as well. And his roster has Purdy, Jones, Hunt, Lamb, Adams, Kelsey, Mason, Brian Thomas. Hold on a second. Drake May, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. How this team is stacked?
This team is stacked here. Man, I'm not sure what happened. Obviously, you just got Kareem Hunt. Probably picked him up away from wires a couple weeks ago. You had Ramondre Stevenson that was struggling. He didn't play, so that was probably a big thing. You probably started Anthony Richardson multiple weeks, and he struggled, which also makes sense there. Davante Adams was up and down. So was CeeDee Lamb. I think your most consistent player on this team was probably Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, to be completely honest with you. You probably started Deontay Johnson a couple weeks. You probably started George Pickens a couple weeks. I can understand maybe why you are, 2-5 or 1-5 or whatever the case may be. Well, Travis Kelce wasn't playing up to that standard before Rashee Rice, so like he probably lost the first couple weeks.
Yeah. To be honest,
now, like looking throughout the season, it's like you can see the up and downs, but like this is a good team technically on paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You look at the standings, and you're really not that far off, man. There are 4 teams at 4 teams at 3 and 4, and your team is good. You're only a couple wins away from getting back into this conversation. You have a 6-team playoff and a 10-team league. You have 2 teams in the playoffs at 3 and 4. I mean, you're like 1 week away from being in the playoff picture. All right, are we back? I love when my computer does that. It's the coolest thing ever. My mouse won't work. This is awesome. This is so cool. Come on, technology. Figure it out, please. Yeah, my mouse just literally will not pick up right now. But overall, what I'm trying to say is that this is a good team. Yeah, I know. I have no mouse right now to get your audio back up. Just give me a sec. Okay. Sorry, guys. Technology is awesome. I'm going to have to unplug my mouse. Okay, so the keyboard is back. Can I please get a mouse that works? My goodness. Oh my gosh, finally. I'm so sorry, guys. There's nothing that, like, frustrates me more than simple technology not working. Okay. They should be able to hear you now.
Hello?
And
Hello?
they should be able to hear me, I believe.
Okay.
I
We're
think
here.
we're okay. Sorry, guys. That was really frustrating. Can we get some thumbs up? Are we good to go?
I was just showing off
Can
my
you hear both of
collection,
us?
even though they couldn't hear me.
By the way, if you guys drop the super chat, we do see it. We're just answering the questions on the website first, but we see your super chats for sure, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate
you. But yeah, all I was trying to say earlier was that it is like far beyond time to panic. It really is, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in your situation and I was 0-7 and the playoff teams were 4-3, it'd be like, all right, the mathematical odds of you getting in are quite low, but you have still such a fantastic chance at getting into the playoffs here, and the team is stacked. Like, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. This team is amazing. It really is. This is an incredible team. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Brian Thomas, Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt, Jordan Mason. I mean, on your bench, you have players that I'm starting in a lot of leagues, right? So I think you should feel great. The only question that I would say is, are we going to start Drake May or Brian Thomas? Do you just start Brian Thomas, because of his form, or do you get a quarterback in there? I almost feel like I want to start a quarterback.
I want to start a quarterback for sure. Yeah, I would definitely start Drake May. He's been averaging 20 points in the past, 20 plus points in the past 2 games. So I would definitely go there. I would also say that, maybe I'm looking to try and sell
I'll be right back.
names like, yeah, no worries. I'm also trying to sell the names like Jordan Mason before CMC does come back. I think there's been reports that CMC is going to likely come back in week 10. If that is true, I might as well try and sell Jordan Mason high and maybe try and get another running back. Can you sell Mason off for a DeAndre Swift, a David Montgomery, a J.K. Dobbins, a James Conner, a Tony Pollard? I'm willing to do that right now. Maybe you could potentially even get more from those names that I am saying. Another guy I would be trying to sell, because I'm not a big fan of him, even though he just had his first big game. And maybe if it does happen again, you might even have more wiggle room. But George Pickens obviously had his best game here with Russell Wilson scoring over 22 fantasy points, a lot of moon balls, but those are a lot of 50-50 balls, like we were saying earlier in this week. If I can sell George Pickens high and maybe pivot to a Jalen Waddle or pivot to a Deebo Samuel or pivot to a DJ Moore, I will do that. Even if I have to send a little bit, if I can, package, George Pickens and Deontay Johnson and then go out and get an Amari Cooper, or, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens and go out and get a T. Higgins. Hey, that is what I would do. I think you keep Ramondre Stevenson, you keep Drake May. Anthony Richardson can also be a piece, but since this is a super flex league, I'm just holding on to Anthony Richardson just in case of those bye weeks comes on. But at the same time, it's not going to help you because Drake May and Anthony Richardson both have the same bye week. So you might be better off maybe seeing if you can get somebody else regardless. But those are the names that I personally will be trying to move. So once again, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and also Jordan Mason. But everyone else is primed to have a good game. Let me ask you one question, because we saw in the early part of the season Travis Kelce struggle with a wide receiver. Now, it's going to take a couple weeks until Deontay Johnson is fully acclimated, but is Travis Kelce somebody that's like, okay, he's probably going to go back to what he was when Rashee Rice was there?
It'll be completely different because Rashee Rice and DeAndre Hopkins will not play the same role. They're not the same player. You don't funnel the offense through them the same way, right? The reason Kelce was so bad with Rashee Rice is because Rashee Rice was playing the Travis Kelce role over the middle of the field, the intermediate game, which he was doing better than Travis Kelce could at this point of his career. Hopkins is not able to do that. This is a possession wide receiver, not much speed, not much yak appeal, So I don't think this hurts Kelce. I think it actually could potentially help him, as crazy as that sounds. But Yeah, overall, I'd agree with you with Deontay Johnson. I'd be looking to package, like, can you package Deontay and Jordan Mason right now, right? And go get an upgrade, a significant upgrade at running back or wide receiver. I think that's a great option for you. And then if you did that deal, you could go ahead and put Drake May into your Superflex spot anyway, because you'd have an empty spot. But yeah, overall, my message to you is don't panic, man. Do not panic. You have such a good team. It is far too early. And yeah, overall, I just want to encourage you. You got a good team. You will rack up some wins here soon. I promise you.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for the support as well.
All right.
Great team.
Gracie is the next one here. Says, drop Kelsey, pick up Otton or Hunter Henry. No, I wouldn't do that. Also, flex Madison, Stevenson, or Tolbert, Caleb, or Baker. All right, let's start with the first question, Caleb or Baker. It doesn't look like they entered any other options for us, so they didn't hit the consider button. Remember, guys, when you're filling out that starting lineup, just to help you guys out for future questions, what you got to do is, let's say you know you're going to start Joe Burrow. That's locked in. That's great. But when you come down here and you want us to answer a question, make sure you hit the considering button, right? I'm considering Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. For example, in the flex, I'm considering Jalen McMillan, Olave, right? That gives us all the options that you're considering when you submit your question. So just to help you guys moving forward. But basically, he submitted as a super chat is basically what happened. So I wouldn't drop Kelsey. I would still start him. Between Madison, Stevenson, and Tolbert, I would probably lean Madison. I hate the matchup, though. I'd rather pick up Otton and start him over Madison, to be honest. And then between Caleb and Baker, I'm going to lean probably still Baker, but it's Baker. Close.
Yeah, I need to see it. I need to see it this week before I just bench Baker. I think Baker has been obviously great so far this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's like a top 5 quarterback right now. Obviously, that's what Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it is just Baker Mayfield that's just better and different. He obviously has help with those other wide receivers, but Caleb does have a good matchup this week playing your Washington Commanders. And if Jaden Daniels does play, even more of a reason to start Caleb. But I'll start Baker this week.
Yeah, I agree. And then I would pick up Otton and start him over all these options as well, if you can do that. But hopefully that's helpful. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
JC Geik says, I got Mason and Ferguson off waivers, traded them for CMC. Will CMC play or did I lose? He won't play this week, no, but he'll play again.
He'll play again. It just really depends on your team. Like, if you are... This is really based on what your record is and if you need to win now. And if you're above 500, if you're 6-1, 5-2, sure, happy to do this, because the expectation is that CMC is going to come back in week 10 at the moment. Now, is that true? We don't know. But I also want to know who your other tight end is. Jake Ferguson is pretty significant tight end in my opinion. But if you're telling me you have, a Cole Kmet, a Hunter Henry, a Dallas Goedert, I think I would have rather have kept Jake Ferguson. But I guess there's upside play in like the names like Hunter Henry or Tucker Kraft or whatever the case may be. But still, I would have rather kept Ferguson. But happy to get CMC here.
Yeah, I definitely like this deal. I definitely like it. I expect CMC to play probably week 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a negative record, this isn't going to be beneficial to you. If you're a positive record, then this is going to definitely help you in the playoffs. It's a move that makes a lot of sense heading into the playoffs. So I really like that, honestly. All right, moving on to Michael Cobb with a super message who says, would you trade Waddle and Worthy for Deontay Johnson? No. Waddle would be well ahead of Deontay in my rankings with Tua back now.
No question. And Deontay Johnson, he only had life because of Andy Dalton. And obviously Andy Dalton is not playing this week because of other circumstances, but the window, I think, is over.
There's less and less reasons to play Andy Dalton every week. So
exactly. So
Yeah, would definitely Waddle. And this tells me, guys, if you're out there in a league and you haven't sent a trade for Jalen Waddle, go do it, because this is a guy that I definitely still want to roster rest of season with Tua's back.
I'm there with you.
All right, A. Kennedy, Tank Bigsby or DeAndre Hopkins, 12 team, start 7 redraft. I'm gonna go DeAndre Hopkins here. I think when Etienne comes back, it'll be very confusing.
Yeah, I completely agree. Give me DeAndre Hopkins.
And I'm lower on DeAndre Hopkins than what I've heard around the community, by the way. I mean, I obviously went live last night and I talked about it, but we didn't get to hear from you. Where do you have DeAndre Hopkins ranked rest of season? Because I had him more like wide receiver 30 range, next to names like Pickens, Olave, Smith, Flowers. But I'm hearing a lot of people who have him top 15, top 20. I couldn't put him there. I'm just curious where you lie.
No. I have him wide receiver. I have him over like George Pickens. I have him like around Chris Olave, Devonta Smith range.
Okay.
So I have him technically right now wide receiver like 29, 30.
Okay.
Look, we were talking about it after you went live because obviously we were in the chat together. But my concern with DeAndre Hopkins is that one is going to take a couple weeks for him to get acclimated to this offense. 2, he has been dealing with a couple injuries. He's an older wide receiver. Obviously, he was in and out of games a lot last year with injuries. The year before he dealt with injuries and then he was suspended. It just depends on the usage. Like, I don't expect him to get 10 targets like he was getting in the early prime Kyler Murray type of season. I think he's going to be more of a touchdown dependent. He's going to get 5 to 6 targets per game, but they're just going to be very valuable targets and valuable points in fantasy. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if I would take him, like if Devonta Smith or DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, that's the question I struggle with because I just don't know. I still feel like this offense is going to win games by
it's not going to be
rushing the ball
through
and
DeAndre Hopkins.
Playing good defense on the opposite side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Marvin Harrison or DeAndre Hopkins?
Marvin. Yeah, I'll still go Marvin.
Zay Flowers or DeAndre Hopkins?
I think I lean Zay. Because I know in matchups where they're going to need to throw the ball, he's an incredible option.
Yeah. So, look, the list can go on. I can say George Pickens or DeAndre Hopkins. I can say Jackson Smith and Jigba or DeAndre Hopkins. I think once we get higher, I think when we get to the Stephon Diggs, the Waddles, even the Pukas, I don't think I would rather have all those other guys over DeAndre Hopkins right now. So I'm right there with you.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've got a team review here from Hagen Dillon. He says, I'm in a 12-team redraft league, PPR, and he's 5-2. Is my team mid, or can I actually contend? Curious what kind of positional upgrades or trade packages you might recommend for me to pursue. Injuries have hit me hard, and I'm looking to make some moves. Thanks, guys. Dylan. We appreciate you, Dylan. Thanks for the love.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
By the way, if you're out there and you want your team reviewed, I'll put a link in the chat. It's the pinned comment in the chat, but you can go to that link. You can click the team review button here. And of course, if you don't have an account yet on Flock Fantasy, sign up for one for free with the promo code LAND. You'll get a couple tools for free, which is awesome. But shout out to you, Dylan. Why don't we have a look at this team? Little Scamps is a team name, and you're currently ranked 3rd in expert consensus rankings. Good team, man. There's one Thanos, it looks like, but you're right in the thick of it with the 3rd overall ranking here.
Yeah,
at 5-2 as well, by the way. So he's currently, looking like a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah, top 3 right now, in this league, which is great. So let's look at this team. Is one quarterback. So you have C.J. Stroud, Geno Smith, which is great. At the running back position, Monty, CMC, Mason, and Tank. So I think that's great as well. Once CMC comes back, you have that 1-2 punch of Monty and CMC. At the wide receiver position, Cooper Kupp, who comes back this week, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, who just went down. You have Zay Flowers there.
Yep.
So that's start 7. So there's technically up to 3 wide receivers you can start there. So you're starting wide receivers at the moment is going to be Cooper, at least this week, Cooper Kupp, Malik Neighbors, and then Zay Flowers.
Yeah, still a great crew.
Yeah, 100% with David Njoku being there. So, look, right now I think this team is great. Yeah, you could probably
let's give it a team grade A to F.
I think this is an A team.
Yeah, I'd say like A- range. Hey, B plus A-. I wish you didn't have Stroud. That was one of our players to avoid this year. We liked him. We just didn't understand why he was going so high. We suggested people to wait 7 rounds or whatever it was and pick Jordan Loves of the world and the Joe Burrows of the world. But we can't do anything about that now. He's still a fine option. He's just not a league-winning option. He's really the only place where I'm like, I'm not in love with this team because you're covering off McCaffrey with Mason. When McCaffrey comes back, you'll have one of the best running back rooms in the league. When Mike Evans comes back, you'll have the best wide receiver room in the league. And David Njoku, I mean, shoot, if Jameis Winston starts the rest of the way with no Amari Cooper, why can't he be the tight end 1 rest of the season, you know, outside of Brock Bowers? But looking at his waiver wire, would you pick up Drake May for this team? I know he's playing the Jets. I don't know. I want to infuse some upside on my bench at quarterback, and I don't want to roster 3. Geno's not a bad option, though. I mean, you could probably start Geno over CJ most weeks.
Yeah, look, I would say, yeah, exactly. Geno, I think Geno right now is fine. I don't think you necessarily have to pick up Drake.
Yeah.
I would say what you can do if you really want to, you could pick up Drake and then drop Zach Ertz, because I don't think Zach Ertz is a startable guy. Or you can drop Zach Ertz and then pick up the likes of Hunter Henry, just to give you that depth. Like, what happens if Jameson doesn't target Njoku, even though that's our expectation now with the Mark Cooper not being there.
I almost feel like if I'm dropping Ertz, I want to pick up Corum. I know he's done nothing, but like, where would you rank Blake? All right, so let's say this week. I'm not speaking this into existence, but just as an example. All right, Kyron Williams tears his ACL. Where do you rank Blake Corum rest of the season? To me, it's top 15, top 12 as a running back.
I was going to say top like 20 for me, but yes, like it would be up there.
So if you want to add upside to your bench, you might as well do that, right? Because, yeah, it's not worked out. Clearly, it's Kyron Williams' backfield, but we've seen injury history for Kyron Williams when he's handling such a big load as such a small player. So I'd be picking up Blake and dropping Zach personally.
I mean, look, I would even say you could potentially drop Geno as well, because you have Darnold, you have May on the waiver wires. So you're going to have options when it does come down to CJ Stroud having a bye week, whenever that is. Let's see when that is. He has a bye week in week 14. So unless you're going to be going based off matchups on a week-to-week basis, maybe Geno is not necessarily worth rostering, and maybe you can go ahead and pick up 2 players. Go ahead and pick up Blake Corum, and then go ahead and pick up Hunter Henry, because I think he's also worth rostering since, I think Hunter Henry is like a top 5 tight end right now, which is kind of crazy. Especially with now Drake May being on the field. So I
just don't think if you hit at tight end, it's not going to give you the same benefit in a trade or for your team than a
and that's
running
fine.
back.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, at the moment, Geno maybe doesn't have to be rostered in this league because of Sam Darnold and Drake May being on the waiver wires. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that, and you can go ahead and pick up Blake Corum or Hunter Henry, which I agree.
Yeah.
If Kyron does go down, you would have rather wanted him.
Let's get this out of the way. You don't sell Mike Evans as a 5-2 team. You let him stay on your roster because you want to be the strongest team in the playoffs. You don't sell CMC. Same thing as we just mentioned. The fact that you're 5-2 and you had no Cooper Kupp and you had no Malik Neighbors for 2 weeks, and Zay Flowers been boom bust, and David Njoku's only started being good now, is actually insane. And the fact that CJ's been such a bust, this team should be 2-5, quite frankly. Yeah, not because of the strength of this team, but because of the injuries that they've gone through and the situations they've dealt with. So for you to be 5-2, you should feel so proud of this team for hanging in there, because now you have one of the best teams when healthy. What moves would you make? I might actually look at making a move at quarterback here, if I'm honest. I mean, Can we go get a Daniels who's injured right now? Like, would you send CJ and like Bigsby to a team that needs running back? That's what we need to find. We need to find a running back needy team. So how about would you send Bigsby and Stroud for Burrow and I mean, who could you pick up there? I don't know who the and is. What, Pacheco? Just throw him on your bench, see if he comes back. I would do that. Bigsby and Stroud for Burrow and Pacheco. I think that could definitely benefit you. Let's see. Who else has a quarterback that we can trade for? I mean, how about Bigsby and Stroud for Love and Jaylen Warren? I love that deal for you.
I'm okay with that. I like that one.
This guy who has Jalen Hurts is 2-5, and he has pretty weak running back room. Can you send Bigsby and Stroud for Hurts? You're probably going to have to add something there. Can you add a Shakir or a Pearsall if they're a Niner fan?
Shakira.
Just throwing out ideas, right? Hypothetical ideas here. Yeah, I don't think there's another team that's probably going to be willing to trade their quarterback away right now.
I agree. Which is tough.
That's definitely a route I would try. There's no saying that those will be accepted, but it's worth trying.
But this is a great team.
Would you try and sell Mason right now as a team that's 5-2 and start Monty and Bigsby or pick up Justice Hill and play him if you need to?
I think that's going to be a bit tough because I'm only selling if I have the depth, and I'm not saying he doesn't have the depth, but like if he says Jordan Mason and saying, oh well, CMC is now hoping to come back during the playoffs, it's like damn, now you just lost your starting running back, and Tank Bigsby is not going to be a startable asset every week, unless you're selling Jordan Mason to go upgrade at like a wide receiver position and you have the depth, which I don't think he does, unfortunately. Like let's just say in this scenario, he does sell Jordan Mason, CMC doesn't come back, and then Travis Etienne is the starter. Just ruined your team.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do agree, like I'm happy to do that if you are confident in CMC coming back. If you feel like everything's going in the right direction, let's do it. But I guess right now, this is just risk aversion. Let's just hold on to Mason with that confirmation.
Yeah. What happens if CMC does come back in week 10 and Jordan Mason is irrelevant?
Sure.
That's the other side of that, because you missed out on an opportunity to improve your team. But I definitely hear both sides.
I guess you do have the opportunity to do that because you are 5-2. If we're going based off my scenario and CMC doesn't come back and you sold Jordan Mason, then what can we do to get another running back here?
You've got Justice Hill on the waiver wire, who's a playable name, right? He's boom bust, but he's a playable name at this point. Yeah. You can drop Zach Ertz and pick up Blake Corum and see if an injury happens there and play the waiver wire each and every week. If I was to do a move like that, I'd probably be looking to upgrade at wide receiver. So could I package Mason and Flowers? I need to get a star here, though, if I'm going to make that move. So I need to find a team that needs running back but has good wide receivers. And that team might be Spyro, who has Tyreek, Reed, and their running back room is shit. Sorry, family friendly. Can I send them Jordan Mason and Zay Flowers for Tyreek Hill? I'm doing that in a heartbeat. Can I send them Jordan Mason straight up for Jaden Reed? I think that makes sense. Can I send them Jordan Mason for T. Higgins? I think that makes sense.
T. Higgins.
I think those are two trades that could definitely benefit you. This team definitely needs running back help as well. Would you send Jordan Mason straight up for Marvin? I'm not sure at this point if I would.
No,
I'd rather keep the security of having the Niners backfield in that scenario.
Yep.
So, again, that's just another idea. We always want to explore every avenue for you, but overall, you should feel very good about this team. The fact that you're 5-2 is a miracle. Try and send out some of those trades that we talked about for quarterback, the Jordan Mason trade. Otherwise, be patient. Sometimes the answer is patience. Patience is your best friend, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So, The other option is like a Waddle deal if you wanted to send Mason straight up for Waddle. But I think, again, it's worth just keeping him. You know what I mean? It's worth just keeping him at this point for that security. But I appreciate you, Dylan. I did see you were in the YouTube chat, so, you know, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love. And, of course, feel free to reach out if you have any more questions, man. All right. We have another team review here from Motor City Roar.
Motor City Roar 88, man.
Are there any moves I can make right now to make a playoff push? If so, how should I approach it trade-wise? What could I get for A.J. Brown, Roma Dunze? My philosophy thus far is F the picks. What are your guys' thoughts?
Oh, yeah. F the picks. So F the picks.
This might be a dynasty team, actually. I'm not sure.
Let's see.
It's not posed as a dynasty team, so I'm going to assume it's not, but I don't understand the F the picks. This has got to be a dynasty team if Malik Washington's rostered. Don't you think? This is definitely a dynasty team.
Yeah, if you're here in the chat here, Motor City, let us know if this is dynasty team. Do we want to do this, or do we want to wait on a dynasty
yeah, no, I
team?
think we can. Just want to let them know that we can't see your draft picks because you submitted it as a redraft team. So just be aware of that. But what I would say is, number one, you're 1-6 right now.
If you're 1-6 and this is dynasty, full rebuild.
Not full rebuild, but we're probably not making moves to push for a
no. You're making
situation.
You're selling older players high to then get value. So, for example, the first player I see here is James Conner. Can I get a second for James Conner right now? Right, and then honestly, can I get something for Juwan Jennings? You know, like everyone else I'm keeping. Because this actually might be a dynasty team. Because look how young this team is. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, no, I know, but if you look at how deep the rosters are, it's got to be dynasty. I mean, Chase Claypool's rostered, Tyquan Thornton's rostered. It's definitely a dynasty team. So here's what I would say: if you're actually 1-6, and that's what it shows us here, then there's literally no reason to try and push for your chances of making the playoffs right now are very slim. Definitely don't get rid of any of your draft picks. What I would say is names that I would be willing to sell. James Conner, like Badaki said, in a one quarterback league, I'm not so sure you can't push for a first. For example, if you package Conner and Juwan Jennings to a team that's competing right now, I think that could make a ton of sense. I don't think you need to sell Bigsby at this point as a young team. There's not another running back you really need to sell. I'd be open to moving Caleb Williams in a one quarterback format as well. You should definitely be able to get a first round pick for him based off of his current play. Package James and Juwan Jennings, you could get a first round pick most likely. I wouldn't be opposed to moving Darnell Mooney. For example, can you send Mooney to the Tank Dell owner, right? And just wait for the future for Tank Dell to have no Stephon Diggs and be healthier coming off that injury. You definitely don't trade Brock Bowers. And let's just go through the names that you don't trade. You don't trade Brock Bowers. You don't trade Amon-Ra. You don't trade Jaden Daniels. And you probably don't trade A.J. Brown. If you trade A.J. Brown, it has to be for a name like Malik Neighbors.
I mean,
and that's not going to happen.
Has to be a younger same tier type of wide receiver. But yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Let me just see what else. Let's look at the waiver wires here. Kenneth Gainwell, Dalvin Cook, Andre Yeshivas. I mean, I would be dropping like Malik Washington, Demarcus Robinson, picking up Jordan Whittington. That's a younger wide receiver. Picking up Andre Yeshivas. That's a younger wide receiver. I see Troy Franklin on the waiver wires. Drop Tyler Goodson. Pick up Troy Franklin. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm also trying to pick up Hunter Henry just to have him rostered. I like Hunter Henry. He's only 28, if I'm not mistaken, and he's with Drake May. Yeah, so Andre Yeshivas, Hunter Henry, Jordan Whittington, and Troy Franklin are the four players I'm instantly, maybe even Eric All, I'm instantly adding to my roster right now. You can drop
Britton Strange at this point and add Eric All, add Hunter Henry, like Badaki said. Definitely go get Jordan Whittington. A Cooper Kupp trade could happen at any moment. I'm dropping Demarcus Robinson for him, and I'm dropping Malik Washington for Troy Franklin. Gotta do that. Got to do that.
Yeah, like
And
I'm dropping.
you got to
So
do
the
that
name Sue
yesterday.
drop. Yeah, the name Sue drop we'll be okay with. I think you correct me if I'm wrong. Tyler Goodson, Demarcus Robinson, Malik Washington, Brendan Strange,
Yeah, that's
and then
it.
I guess the fifth option could potentially be Ty Chandler. If you
Maybe,
want
but
to go get all 5 of those players. But
what
yeah.
was the fifth?
We can do Ty Chandler. You can do Kamani
No, what was the
Vidal.
fifth name off waivers?
It was Andre Yeshivas, Hunter Henry, Jordan
Okay,
Whittington,
Yeshivas.
Eric Paul, and Troy Franklin.
Okay,
Those
yeah.
are the 5.
I don't mind the Yeshivas pickup.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, at 1 and 6, no, we're not gonna, I know you said your philosophy is F them picks, but not when you're 1 and 6. That shouldn't be your philosophy because mathematically your chances at making the playoffs are very thin. So
Yeah.
your core players that you're going to build around long term is Jaden Daniels, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brock Bowers, and AJ Brown unless you get a fair offer for him. Like we said, in a dynasty format, for an AJ Brown type of name, you should be looking at minimum like a Malik Neighbors, right?
I think that's probably the only
Puka
player.
Nacua. Puka Nacua is a great one. Drake London.
Sure. Sure.
Marvin, buying low on Marvin. Neighbors. That would be my main piece of advice here. Definitely hit the waiver wire up. Shop around, like we said, James Conner, Juwan Jennings, Caleb Williams. Pick up those names off the waiver wire. And then if you're going to trade AJ Brown, you got to get one of those other wide receivers that we mentioned. But definitely don't move your picks away.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that team review, Motor City. Thank you so much for the support. I think the next one, which is also a team review, is Michael.
Yep.
He says, "Hey, I need a lot of help. I'm 2-5 and have a lot of injuries this season, like Rice and Ayuk. It's a full PPR league, but there are some crazy settings. For example, if you score a 40-yard touchdown, it can be up to 25 points.
Wow.
Last place has to do the milk mile.
Oh my God.
And I really don't want to do that. Milk mile. I've actually never heard of that challenge.
I think it's when you chug like a thing of milk and run a mile.
You're kidding me. The
sounds
milk mile.
insane.
That is, can I run 1 mile and drink this milk? Sorry, I just went and instantly started to watch that because
Urban Dictionary says, milk mile, although many variants on contesting this brutal event, the milk mile includes drinking milk and running a mile. The most manly and legitimate way to contest a milk mile is for the competitors to drink 1/2 gallon of thick chocolate milk from a local dairy as opposed to a thin grocery store chocolate milk. Why is it so specific too?
I just went straight to YouTube and typed in milk mile, and this guy like runs a lap and he has a cup and he drinks a milk after every lap. But that wasn't even like a gallon of milk. Like, how many laps do you have to do to fill it like a cup of gallon of milk and then run?
Yeah, that's
no way.
Absolutely disgusting. Let's help you out here, man. Honestly, at this point, your goal should be not to finish last. So, team name is Kissing Cousins, and you are currently ranked 8th. You're ranked 8th, and that's not
for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So weird.
I don't know why that'd be. It's 8th for me, but you are probably not the best team. What I'm confused about is there's a team named RIP Chris Goat, and he has 0. Does that mean that he dropped all of his players? I think he dropped all of his players. Because on the waiver wire, it says Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Neighbors, Taylor, Higgins are all available. Brock Bowers.
You got the wrong team.
No,
I'm not seeing that. That's so weird. Like, I'm not seeing any of those things. But anyways.
I don't know. Maybe refresh.
Yeah, I just refreshed.
Yeah. So, do you not see a team that has no players on it and only waivers?
No, I don't see that. What's the team's name again? Sorry?
The team's name is RIP Chris Goat.
RIP Chris Goat. No, I have a full team for him on my side. He has CMC, Aaron Rodgers, or CD Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor.
All right, let me try and refresh here then. Maybe
he's 4-3. Malik Neighbors, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Brock Bowers. That's what I'm seeing on my side.
Okay, let me refresh here.
Let's see if it was just a glitch in the matrix.
Definitely could have been.
Zach side looks like it's struggling here.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. You know what? You're right. Just a glitch in the matrix, unfortunately. But that guy lost Godwin. I don't know what happened there, but you are 9th out of 10. So you're struggling right now. There's one team who is worse than you, but their team is better and they're getting Cooper Kupp back. There's another team that is pretty damn good. Sam's Unreal team is 2-5. So without being rude, your team is probably the worst team in the league right now. But let's start at quarterback. You've got Kirk Cousins. I'm probably picking up Caleb Williams if I'm you. I'm starting him over Kirk Cousins this week. I'd probably pick up Jared Goff as well.
Jared Goff
I'd
as
be
well.
willing to play him over Kirk Cousins.
Drake, I mean, I will start, I think, all the first 5 quarterbacks over Kirk Cousins. Caleb, Goff, Darnold, Geno, Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, I think, 3 quarterbacks there that are top 10 currently?
Yeah.
Am I tripping there? You have Geno that's a top 10 quarterback. You'll have Sam Darnold that's a top 10 quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And Drake May is not top 10, but I mean, the last 2 weeks he's been top 10.
Sure.
Since he's been playing.
Yeah.
No?
Are you here? Sorry, what was the question?
No. I was just saying, like, those. I would start those names. I would start all those names over Kirk Cousins. That's what basically I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. No, I don't disagree. I'm definitely with you there.
Okay, cool.
Who would you be wanting to pick up then? I think we can drop Cousins given all these options. And who would be your number 1 play this week? I think it's actually Sam Darnold for me.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. That's Thursday night game. Sam Darnold's a good game. I would say Geno Smith could be an interesting game as well.
What I'd probably do is I'd probably pick up Caleb and Darnold, and I would drop Jerry Jeudy in doing so. Play Sam Darnold this week and pretty much do the quarterback position week by week, depending on the matchup that's available to me, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's how you fix quarterback. At running back, you've got Stevenson, Brown, Brooks, and you are struggling right now because
running back position.
Stevenson is not what he promised to be. Is there any waiver running backs that are decent?
Let's see.
I mean, not really.
Tajay Spears, you could potentially just pick up. Raheem Mostert, you can pick up.
You would have to drop someone. I don't think I could suggest to drop anyone. This week you start Chase and you start Stevenson and you hope for the best. The good news for you, to give you a light at the end of the tunnel, Tyreek Hill gets Tua back. So you're going to get a massive boost in your roster that you didn't have. It's funny because in the Flock League, I just lost Chris Godwin. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Like, I pretty much didn't have Tyreek Hill for like 4 weeks anyway. So now I'm getting Tyreek Hill back after losing Chris Godwin. It's almost like I'm losing one player and adding another. So I think you should feel good about that. It's a start 8, so your ideal starting lineup is going to be Sam Darnold this week, then Stevenson Chase at wide receiver, Tyreek London. Then you will flex Lab McConkey and Xavier Worthy this week. Maybe there's a waiver wire wide receiver. Oh, pick up Wandale.
Yeah, Wandale. That's what I would do.
I pick up Wandale and I drop.
I'll probably drop Jerry, to be honest with you.
Well, we already dropping Jerry to pick up Caleb and Darnold. So
I think since there's so much depth right now, I would be okay dropping like the likes of Zach Charbonnet since Kenneth Walker's not there.
I drop Eckler first.
Sure, that can go. You keep going. I'll be back.
That's okay. So I drop Eckler to pick up Wandale, and I would start Wandale this week. I would. I mean, it would be Tyreek, London, Ladd if he plays, and Wandale for me in my starting lineup, and then Trey McBride. So this team isn't actually that bad. You've been unlucky, and I need to tell you that every week, the quarterback position, you're going to have to stream. That's going to be better than you relying on Kirk Cousins every week. But overall, don't be too concerned. Like, Tyreek Hill is going to give you a huge boost to this roster. Losing Jameson's tough with the suspension. Maybe Calvin Ridley bounces back with no Hopkins. I doubt it. And really, you can't make trades with this team. Like, I'm going to be 100% honest and transparent with you, Michael. How can I advise you to make a trade? Nobody wants your running backs. Outside of Tyreek and London, nobody wants your wide receivers. And those are wide receivers you need if you want to hope at winning in a 10-team league. You're going to have to hit the waiver wires hard, find great options. You need to be a waiver wire warrior. We release a video every week. And that's how you're going to improve this team, man. You got to get some legit depth so you can make those moves. You can make those trades. Wan'Dale has to be a pickup. You got to go pick up Caleb and Darnold. And yeah, man, you're in a tough spot right now, but hopefully that helps. We wish you the best of luck. Come back, keep us updated. I'm invested. I need you not to finish last because the milk mile sounds like hell. All right, we got a start sit from Fiery Gingerbacks, who says, hi from Montreal, first time fantasy player, need to beat my boyfriend this week. I love it. Goff or Tua? All right, starting off with the first question, Goff or Tua? I've got Tua as my quarterback 11 this week. I really like him. I'm not a big fan of Jared Goff versus Tennessee. That is the most difficult secondary to pass on right now in the NFL. I'm not going to say they're the most talented, but as of today, they are actually the most difficult defense to pass on. So I would be leaning Tua, coming back with Arizona on the menu. You got to start Aaron Jones. You've got to start Devon Achane with Tua back. And then your team is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Wow. What a stacked team. I love Jonathan Taylor, but I'm not sure he's going to be cleared to play before Thursday Night Football. So I think you're going to have to start Aaron Jones. And honestly, I like Aaron Jones' matchup better anyway. So for me, this would be Tua, Aaron Jones, Achane, Amon-Ra, London, McBride, and Cooper Kupp. But remember, don't put Cooper Kupp in your flex. Put him in your wide receiver spot. Why? Because silly injuries happen all the time. And if a silly injury happens to one of your starting players, you need that flexibility to play Jonathan Taylor if you need, right? So imagine you put Kupp in your flex and then London or Amon-Ra just randomly have an injury in practice and you can't put Jonathan Taylor in your lineup because you've already got someone in your flex that played, right? So make that move. Outside of that, great team.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Unknown users next.
Unknown user says, I'm 1-6. I don't know what to do anymore. Are any trades worth it at this point, or should I just take leave? Excuse me. So you have Martin Harrison Jr. and Tyreek Hill, and you are receiving Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, and Jordan Addison. This is probably the worst time to sell Tyreek Hill. If you are 1-6, I understand why you're doing this. But Tua's coming back, and you don't sell Tyreek Hill. I would be selling Martin Harrison Jr., but this is a start 7 and a smaller league. I would definitely keep Tyreek Hill, but it also depends on your depth, right? It looks like you have this team linked here, and you currently he's on the left side, right? I always get confused. His team's on the left.
His team's he's receiving the part on the right.
Okay,
says,
you're receiving.
I receive.
Yeah, sorry. So
okay.
You have AJ Brown. Ooh. You have AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Martin Harrison Jr. I actually think Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, and Jordan Addison might be better for him.
The team that he has is on the left, though, brother.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked. That's why I was like, his team's on the left, right? And
okay,
he was like,
so what I said was on the right side, that's the trade that he receives.
Okay.
Right? But when you add players to the right side, that's players that he's receiving from the other team.
So his wide receivers room is Cooper Kupp, Romeo Doubs, Xavier Worthy. And weak, that's it.
To be honest.
It is pretty weak. So you are receiving Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, and Jordan Addison. I still think it's worth potentially.
But the thing is, in a start 7, you really don't need depth. And if you're telling me that you can start every week Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, and Marvin Harrison, or you can decide every week between Garrett and T and Addison. Like, the reality is, like, Addison is a name that you're not going to start anyway, right?
Yeah,
so really, if you think about your team construction, you're not going to start Addison over Garrett Wilson or T Higgins anyway. So there's no reason for me to do this deal personally.
Yeah, I can understand that. Look, either way, I think your wide receiver room needs help, and moving Tyreek Hill is not the best thing. And you're getting Cooper Kupp back, so this is probably the wrong time to get it. So you have Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill. That's going to be in your starting lineup with Martin Harrison or Romeo on that flex option, since this is the start 7. I would say your running back room is probably a little bit shaky there. Obviously, with Tony Pollard and Chuba, it's been a little bit up and down some in the early parts of the season. But I would, since this is one quarterback in a 10-man league, see what I can get for Jordan Love. It's not going to be much. See what I can get for Jaden Daniels if you want. It's probably not going to be much. But that's probably the only thing I can really offer you.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think you got to keep Tyreek. It's a small league. It's a small starting lineup. And Angel Tavar, this is a trade question. It's an 8-team league, so it's a small league, small starting lineup at start 7. And one side gets Taylor, one side gets Jaden Reed. That seems like a pretty fair deal. Looking at your team, you have Love, Walker, Brooks, Brown, Breece Hall. Your wide receiver room is Cooper Kupp, Jordan Mason, Marvin Harrison, Jalen Waddle. So Reed is definitely an upgrade for you. As crazy as it sounds, though, I feel like, and I love Jaden Reed, but I feel like I need a name with a little more spice to move JT. Just considering how difficult the running back room is on a week-to-week basis for a lot of people, I just feel like we should be aiming a little bit higher than Jaden Reed.
I think for me, this is Jaden Reed. I get what you're saying, but I think the opportunity is he has Breece, Kenneth Walker. Yeah, it's going to be Chase Brown and then Jonathan Brooks, which, Jonathan Taylor really hasn't been much. And when JT is full healthy, I don't even think there's going to be even
great
more
when he was healthy, man.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be like even crazy more wiggle room there. I don't think anyone's going to want to give up like the AJ Browns or the Malik Neighbors for.
I guess I'm not speaking so much to the perception of like people's opinions on rankings, but more how I would value them.
Sure. I will be okay with this because it's a smaller league. It starts 7. Your starting wide receivers currently is going to be Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith with Jalen Waddle. It might be a bit difficult on a week-to-week basis on who to start, but I would be starting Jaden Reed over the likes of Jalen Waddle on a week-to-week basis, Devonta Smith on a week-to-week basis. So it just really depends on how you view that. But yeah, give me Jaden Reed here.
I guess the way I view it, and I definitely hear where you're coming from, is you're essentially picking a flex here. I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor in my flex. I'd rather have those running backs who touch the ball 20-plus times in my flex. So I'd rather have my starting lineup look like Jordan Love, Ken Walker, Breece Hall, Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, and Jonathan Taylor at the flex, rather than just throwing another wide receiver in there. Because to be honest, I don't know each week when Tua's back if I'm starting Reed or Jalen Waddle. And that's tough. Or there could be some matchups where I really like Devonta Smith and I don't like Jaden Reed's matchup. So I definitely hear where you're coming from. I think it's a pretty relatively even deal, but just personally, I prefer Jonathan Taylor, but I can see both sides.
Yeah. Appreciate that. I think the next one is Ho Milk is King.
Yes.
Zach/Daniel, hope all is well, Chance. Gosh, it's so weird someone said Daniel. Help me feel better about my good friend Harrison. Oh boy. So yes, you still going to be starting Martin Harrison Jr. with the option that you did give us here over Jawan Jennings, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson. I would still go Martin Harrison Jr. Do I like it? Absolutely not. I think there could be an argument to help. Start Jake Ferguson over Martin Harrison Jr. Start Tucker Kraft over Martin Harrison Jr. But I don't think in my right mind I should tell you to do that. I'm still starting Martin Harrison Jr. and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'd start Martin still. It
doesn't make you feel better, but
no. I mean,
Miami's
I don't really want to
matched up too.
Yeah, I don't really want to make you feel worse, but his matchups upcoming are disgusting. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Are you
Miami,
selling Marvin
Chicago.
Harrison Jr.?
Huh?
Are you selling Marvin if you can?
Yeah, I mean, we've had that trade question come up 2 times in a row on our streams for Brian Thomas, and every time I've said Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that's true. Or what about Debo Samuel?
Yeah, I'll take Debo for sure.
DJ Moore.
I don't know about that one.
Okay. I think we both say Jalen Waddle. I think as you get higher, you can't really get too much. Like Chris Olave.
No, I think you just hold Marv at that point.
Yeah. Look,
but
it's tough full milk.
The team is very good, man. For a 12-team league, I'm actually kind of confused how you have this team, to be quite honest with you. To have a starting lineup of Kyler Murray, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Thomas, Justin Jefferson, Travis Kelce, and Marv as your flex is incredible. So congratulations, because that team is absolutely stacked.
Absolutely.
Manny, a start-sit question, says, need help on who to start at quarterback in my flex spot, considering Debo and Reed might not play. If you guys want your questions answered, we haven't gotten to the super chats yet, but it's something that we've said pretty consistently every stream for the past month or so, that questions through the website will be answered first, and that is the best way to get your question prioritized. Of course, we'll get to the super chats. We just got to get through the questions on the website first. We appreciate all of you. Appreciate the support. And let's help Manny out here.
Yeah.
At quarterback, probably starting Tua over Baker, personally.
Agreed.
Yeah, without Mike or Godwin.
Yeah.
And then at flex, are we starting... Obviously, Debo if he plays. But if Debo doesn't play, is it Otton? Is it McMillan? Is it Dowdle?
If Debo doesn't play, I'm going Cade Otton. I feel like he should be the safer floor. Obviously, McMillan could have a higher upside. I think Cade Otton has a safer upside than Rico. I think the only guy that could outscore Cade Otton out of these guys that you have, in my opinion, is Jalen this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Cade Otton with the safe floor this week, though.
Yeah.
What did he do against? What did he do against Atlanta? He had called 3 out of 4, had 7.4 fantasy points that week against that crazy Thursday night game at Atlanta. So I think that's a safe floor.
We've got a super message here from Daniel, who says, "Sup, gents? Daniel here. Tua versus Bo Nix versus Russell Wilson this week. It's a must-win." I like Bo Nix. He's actually a really fun option this week versus the Panthers, but I'm more concerned that they might run the ball all over them and not feel a need to throw. So I'm going to put Tua in versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
I get that it's risky, but he'd be my play there.
I agree. I'm going to as well.
Okay, cool. Same page, baby. CRC.coop with a start sit. It's an 8-team start 7. They're starting Daniels, Henry, Mixon, Chase. And at wide receiver, you got to put Tyreek Hill in there. I promise you. Gots to start him. At tight end, I'm probably starting Evan Ingram this week over Tucker Kraft. I love Tucker Kraft, but I'm a real big fan of this matchup for Evan Ingram. I see a scenario where they are down big time versus the Packers. It's the highest over-under of the week. I think the Packers will be up big time, and they're going to have to throw the ball. And just that sweet garbage time for Evan Ingram, I think, is going to be so beneficial this week. You know? And then at flex, I think you got to put Devon Achane in there.
Yeah, I agree. You're starting Devon. That's exactly where I want to go. And I completely agree with you.
Cool. Jared Gregory says, Jalen McMillan versus Chase Brown at the flex, attempting to Kyron but hasn't accepted yet. Maybe attempting to trade for Kyron. So we're starting Jalen Hurts. At running back, we've got Bigsby or Tank or Pollard. I really, really hate Pollard's matchup. I still think he might be my choice here. But would you start Bigsby over... If there's no ETN, would you start Bigsby over Pollard?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, same.
If not, I would go Pollard.
Yeah. Just guaranteed touches. Diggs, Chase. We've got DJ Moore in the flex. I'm not going to change out anyone else for him. And then at the flex, Chase Brown. Would you start Chase Brown or Bucky, Chase Brown or Tony? Chase Brown is so tough, man. He's so tough to wrap your head around, honestly. I really, obviously, like, he is the guy there, but what does that really mean in an offense that's led by the pass? Not a good matchup. You try and beat Philly through the air, not on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, look, it's tough for sure. I think since he's kind of been getting the opportunities, we've been seeing obviously that he's just having, I guess, a decent floor so far. I think this week I would personally go Jalen McMillan. We just don't know what that floor is. So if you're looking for a safe floor, Chase. If you're looking for a high upside, but Jalen.
Okay. I think it would be Pollard for me, actually, just because of the guaranteed touches. And he gets work in the air. He gets targets. So I think...
Sorry, continue.
I just think with your flex spot, he is the one that I hate the matchup. And I've got him and Bucky and Chase and all these guys in the same category. What I will say, if Jawan Jennings plays, he would be my answer. But right now it's Tony Pollard.
And I thought you had Pollard in the first RB position. Sorry, I didn't realize that.
That's okay.
But yes, I would go Tony Pollard if Travis Etienne doesn't play. I guess that's where you have Tank Bigsby in the RB2 spot.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're on the same page there then.
Cool. All right. Booty Clap King is here with a start-sit question. Tua tags Jaden Daniels, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Jaden Reed, Dalton Kincaid, K. Dotton. Maybe they're just double-checking like, hey, is the roster Gucci? This must be a dynasty league with all the options he's got. Oh, my gosh, Zach Wilson. That's crazy. Yeah, definitely starting those quarterbacks. We're definitely starting Gibbs and Mixon. You can't sit those names. You can't sit Jefferson. I'm not going to start any of these names over Jaden Reed. And then at the flex, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs is already playing. Joe Mixon's already playing. Well, you got to put Aaron Jones in here. So, okay, Aaron Jones is in there. T. Higgins is in there. Jalen Waddle's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the question really is Jalen McMillan or K. Dotton when it comes down to it, when it boils down.
Yeah, high upside, safe floor. Really just depends on what you need. It's a 2-point per reception tight end premium.
Or Marv.
So that's Booty Clappers here. I would go in the 2-point per reception tight end premium. I'm starting K. Dotton over Marv.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, 2 points per reception. I'm going to go Otten as well over Marv. That makes sense. Yeah, this is exactly how I'd have it too, given the context.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hold on.
Owner.
Are you going to start? No, I guess 2 points per reception. You got to start Kincaid. Okay, that's how we'd have it. All right, next one is Happy Emo. Caleb has a better matchup. I have Hunt, maybe a flex. Good win on the Flock League, boys. Appreciate you.
Come on.
All right, Kyler or Caleb this week?
I'm still going Kyler.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Tough matchup, but the rushing upside is too sweet. We got Brees and Walker playing at wide receiver. I think you have to start Neighbors.
You have to start Neighbors. You have to start Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
At tight end, you have to start Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
the flex position. This is where.
Wow.
This is where.
That's insane.
It's Brian Thomas with Jalen Waddle here, and I'm going to be going Jalen Waddle. I hate Jalen Waddle because I'm playing Mason this week, and he has Jalen Waddle. And the first week he has playing against me, he gets Waddle back, which is annoying. So I hope he does shit, but it's Jalen Waddle.
I don't think I can play Waddle over Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have to play Kareem over both.
Kareem over Waddle and Brian Thomas? I guess because of the matchup, sure. That's fair.
Plays
I get the matchup.
The Raiders have one of the lowest implied team point totals.
Yeah, I get that.
Kareem's one of my favorite starts of the week. Every running back goes off against the Raiders. Chuba had 23. Javonte had 16. Najee had 20. They're top 10 in rushing yards allowed and yards per carry. They're giving up the 7th highest mark. They have the 3rd lowest implied team point total.
believing. I agree. I mean, look, I understand it. I wouldn't start Brian Thomas just based off matchup. You saw how Jair shut down Stephon Diggs. Maybe that's a little bit more personal. Martin Harrison, I just can't trust. I know you probably want the stack. Devonta Smith should have a good matchup. That should be a high-scoring game, if I'm not mistaken. They play in the Bengals. But yeah, Kareem Hunt does have a phenomenal matchup. I just love Jalen Waddle with Tua coming back against a team that is not the best. So they should just come out firing on all cylinders, I would say.
Yeah.
And they play at home as well. I don't know. That's just hot. It's hot over there in Miami. Come on. Anyways,
that's fair enough. I'm gonna go Hunt. Frizzle says currently 2-5, 14-man. Finally won last week. Can I make a playoff run now with Mixon back? We're gonna start Kyler over Drake. We started Drake last week over Kyler because of the matchup. We're gonna start Kyler over Drake because I don't like Drake's matchup. At wide receiver, we're gonna put in Zay Flowers, and at flex,
has he been practicing? Out of curiosity, did he practice today?
I don't know actually.
Zay
at flex,
Flowers,
it's Bigsby if he starts.
Practice.
It's Olave if he doesn't.
At flex is Bigsby if he starts. Olave if he doesn't. I agree.
And to be honest, in a 14-team league, this is a pretty good team.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Are you starting Otton over Ferguson?
I'm still starting Ferguson, but Otton does have a great matchup.
Man, that's actually a question I haven't had this week. I think I do have to start Otton.
That's fine.
It's one spot in my rankings.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson has a great matchup playing, or has a high scoring quote-unquote matchup against the 49ers, at least you hope. And he's just, you haven't seen, it doesn't feel like he's been doing anything. He's currently tied in, I think, 18, but you have to remember he did miss a game. He had his bye week already. So those 2 games essentially he hasn't played. He only scored 1 game, or technically 2 games under double-digit points. The rest has been 15, 11, 13. So
that's fair enough. I'm gonna go Otton, but I get it. At
great.
flex,
Otton's great.
Bigsby or Olave if Bigsby starts. I'm going Bigsby.
Yeah, Bigsby if Travis Etienne doesn't play.
Okay, great. A Kennedy with a question here. It's a trade question. It's a 1 quarterback 12-team start 7. And they're going to be sending away London and Hill. Oh, this is no.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a no, immediate no.
This is disgusting. If this hit my inbox, I probably wouldn't even respond. I wouldn't even decline it. I would leave it there just to leave that person in limbo. Just to leave this little sliver of hope in their mind. Oh, maybe he likes it.
A little sliver of
and
hope.
All the time, I'm talking shit behind their back. The fuck is that? No way. Not even close. Disrespectful.
I agree. I'm there with you.
We got a team review here.
Yeah, Bumble. Thank you so much. He says, it's my first time playing in a fantasy league. I need all the help I can get. I need advice on any trades, or is my team a total bust? Pour one out for Mahomes is your team name, and you are 1-6.
Okay.
You are currently 7th in expert consensus ranking, so you're not like totally out of the dumps, but you're definitely there. 1-6.
Oof.
Look, things can definitely turn around. Let's have a look at this team. And this is a 1 quarterback 10 team start 7. So you have 2 with Jared Goff. 2 is coming back, which is great. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, J.K. Dobbins, Chuba Hubbard, Alexander Madison, and Ray Davis. I'm not a big fan of J.K., even though I think he didn't have the best week last week. But you know, he's a viable RB2. So I think the RB2 position, I do believe, is weak in my opinion. Chuba Hubbard with Jonathan Brooks coming in. At the wide receiver position, you have, oh my goodness, this is kind of where you fall down.
I don't think running back's your problem at all. I think it's wide receiver.
Yeah, it's wide receiver. Tyreek Hill obviously wasn't doing anything for you. Lamar McConkey was barely doing anything. Darnell Mooney had a great game. You just probably picked up Jalen McMillan with Sam Laporta, Kate Alton.
All right, a couple things I would do here with this team. first things first.
Rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
I think I'm going to add a wide receiver and drop a running back. I would suggest before we do any drops, we try and trade Chuba Hubbard, which we'll talk about. But I'd really like to add some wide receiver help here. I think that's Josh Downs, and the reason I say that is because if Anthony Richardson keeps playing poorly, do they go do what the Panthers did and go to the veteran? That can help them win? I don't know. If they do, Josh Downs becomes a must-start every single week. And at this point, I don't think you can be like picky about having an upside wide receiver like that on your team. But the first thing I would do is I would try and package Chuba Hubbard to upgrade somewhere, because I actually don't think you need Chuba Hubbard. Personally, I actually like your running back room. I love JK. He's a must-start every week. Madison's a fine RB3. So if you can package Chuba Hubbard and a Darnell Mooney and upgrade at wide receiver, or a Ladd McConkey and upgrade at wide receiver, I think that would be a huge benefit to you. So what I'd like to do is find running back needy teams. For example, this guy's RB2 is Ramondre Stevenson. You can't get DK Metcalf. That doesn't work because you need to win right now. But I'm going to try and find a team that makes sense for you. This guy's got Najee Harris as his wide receiver too. This could work. Can you get Jaden Reed potentially? For a Ladd in a Chuba, I think that's an option you can try. Probably not going to be accepted, but it's worth sending the offer. If you know Debo is playing this week, I would do the same thing for him. I'd love to say Puka, but you can't do it because of your record. And I don't really want Stephon Diggs to be that name long term. Can you go do it for Jalen Waddle? I love that move if you can go get Jalen Waddle before Tua comes back. Even if you can go get an Amari Cooper, I think that could make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just looking at more options here for you. T. Higgins, right? Tough. This guy's running back room isn't the strongest. Can you go get a T. Higgins from him? And see what he thinks about that. Maybe DJ Moore. DJ Moore's not a bad option. So if you can get one of those deals done for wide receiver, I think that definitely instantly improves your team. It's a start 7 as well, so you don't really need to be too worried about depth. So if you made one of those moves, let's say you got Jaden Reed. I don't know who you could get, but just as an example, your starting lineup now is a Jared or a Goff. It's a Gibbs, Dobbins. I like that. It's a Tyreek, Reed, Ladd, or you can throw in Alexander Madison as your flex, and then you're probably starting Kate Otten this week over Sam Laporta. So overall, I think that improves your team a lot. I think, again, my main goal right now with this team would be using Chuba Hubbard and Mooney or McConkey to upgrade that wide receiver 2 spot. That'd be my main goal with your team.
I would just say if you don't make moves, then it's going to be very difficult. Let's just set his lineup this week, though, just to give him some help as well. I'm starting Tua over Jared Goff this week. You're starting Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm starting triple check over J.K. Dobbins. And
it's Dobbins versus Saints for me.
Yeah. Yes, I have J.K. Dobbins over Chuba. At the wide receiver position, you're going to start Tyreek Hill. I'm going to be starting Darnell Mooney over Ladd McConkey this week, and I'm starting Jalen McMillan over Ladd McConkey. Unless you have a different idea at that flex position. Okay.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, are we not going to start the 2 tight ends, one at the flex?
Sure, or we can do
Jameson,
that.
Potentially.
I think my concern there... Oh, no Jameson. My concern there is that this should be an easy game for the Lions. So I'm a little bit concerned if, like, is Sam Laporta going to be needed? But at the same time, it's like, that's hard to gauge, right? Titans just traded away DeAndre Hopkins. I think they kind of know where they're going this year. I don't think Will Levis is set to play again. So, or not again, this week with Mason Rudolph wasn't the best option. It's just going to be bully ball, and maybe they don't need to. But I'm happy to start Sam Laporta this week. That's just my concern.
That's fair. I think Chuba's probably the better start if you keep him in the flex spot. So, again, recap. That would be Tua, Gibbs, Dobbins, Tyreek and Mooney at the flex, I'd put Chuba if you still have him on your team, if you haven't traded him away, and then Otton at tight end. If you trade away Chuba, you probably got a better option anyway, but you can start Laporta and Otton if you needed to. In an ideal world, I would be picking up a Josh Downs in the scenario which A-Rich get hurts, or they realize their team can win, but not with A-Rich, or they want to give him time to be on the bench and relax like Bryce Young. I'd love to say a Dunze. I just don't see him breaking out this year, or at least not consistently. Love to say Calvin, but he has no quarterback. So yeah, I think that's probably the direction I take this team. I wouldn't give up. Like 1-6, it's going to be tough to come back from. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially in a 10-team league, a lot of people's teams are going to be very good, but you never give up at any point. I think a Chuba trade is paramount for your team to be successful moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Appreciate you, man.
The support, man. Thank you so much. Hopefully that helps. This Chris is next. There's also another team review.
Says don't touch down there.
It's your, I know, right? It's your boy, 18-man league. Was wondering if you can take a look at my team and let me know what needs improvement and who I can consider dropping. I'm currently 5-2, all thanks to Fantasyland. So I trust y'all opinions, and we appreciate you. Don't touch my no square, basically, is his team name.
Hey, don't touch me there. That is my no square.
My no square. You're 5-2, third in expert concessions ranking, and once again, it's a 1 quarterback, 18 team, start 7.
Wow, 18 team is crazy.
So you have Drizzy.
What's his
Drake.
team name again? Don't touch down there.
Don't
Third
touch down
overall.
there.
Okay.
Third overall, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence this week. Interesting quarterback room. We'll have a look. Running back is Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson, Tyrone Tracy. I think this is a great running back room. Yeah. You don't have to worry about this. At the wide receiver position, you have Malik Neighbors, and this is your downfall here. Is you're starting Demario Douglas as wide receiver 2, and wide receiver 3 is who? You're probably most likely starting these running backs at that flex position over one of these wide receivers, which is fine. And then Mark Andrews has been taking a good next step here.
I really like the Troy Franklin pickup, to be honest, because that could be a band-aid for the wide receiver 2 spot for you. I mean, Douglas wasn't really fully healthy last week. I think your strength really is that running back spot. So I actually love the Franklin pickup that you made. I would advise to pick up a Josh Palmer and probably drop Tyler Bidet. I think that would be beneficial. And to be honest, there's no quarterback upgrade on the waiver wire for you. Drake May and Trevor Lawrence are your best options. But to be honest, they're not bad plays. I mean, Drake May's shown a lot of upside. It's not a good matchup this week, per se, but there's definitely still hope and optimism for the future for Drake May. But this week, I'm probably still starting Trevor Lawrence over Drake in a matchup versus the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree here. I would say, like, I'm still going to be starting like Malik Neighbors as my wide receiver 1. My wide receiver 2, yeah, you can go Troy Franklin or Demario Douglas. Just really depends. But I think at that flex position, I'm going to be starting the running back. So Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt at RB1 and 2, with then Brian Robinson in that flex position.
For a 18-team league, start 7. This is not a bad team, really, at all. This is a pretty damn good team when all things are considered. And I like that you built your team around like not the quarterbacks when it's so difficult to find a startable name at some of these positions. Honestly, I'm not going to trade these running backs. I'm not going to trade Derek, Kareem, Brian, Tracy. I might trade Kareem because I'm worried about Pacheco long term. Do we want to explore that at all?
We can, and then we can upgrade at that wide receiver position. I think like that will probably be that next step, in my opinion, on who you can get for Kareem.
If we trade Kareem away, I'm just trying to find a running back that makes sense. Like, you almost have to go really low and get like a Marv and Ramondre type vibe. Or a Marv and a Warren. I think that could make sense.
What if it's just a straight up swap?
For who?
I mean, First name that came to my mind was for Kareem Hunt. Could be like a Debo. I don't know if he can get a Waddle right now.
Yeah, I like Debo. I like Waddle.
I'm not sure if you can get Amari Cooper, but I think those are the two names right now that you can get.
Those are good options.
I think
I would also say T. Higgins.
Okay, yeah, T. Higgins. I feel like I wouldn't do that for T. Like as in like, if I'm a T. Higgins owner, I wouldn't do that. But yes, let's do it for T. Higgins if that is possible. But maybe
also,
DK Metcalf, since
I'd also
you
look
are
at
5-2,
where you're 5-2. Go get from kicker Jason. Go get Etienne and Evans. Right, this guy's 2-5. He needs to win right now. He cannot afford to have Mike Evans on his roster. He needs a startable name, and he can't start Etienne or Mike right now. That's actually a great deal for a 5-2 team. I think that makes a lot of sense for you. This guy is 2-5. Can you get Devonta Smith from him? Can you get Puka Nacua? That would be great. Get Puka Nacua for Kareem Hunt. That guy's 2-5. He has no RB2 worth mentioning. This team is 0-7. Oh my God. Well, their team is disgusting. How did they draft this team? How? Wow. Okay, we're gonna.
Look, they probably didn't have that thing. Let's just say like he had Isaiah Pacheco, maybe he had Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Maybe he had Rashee Rice and Chris Godwin, Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know. He had Tua clearly fucked up there. Family friendly. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. Those are most of the options I'd say. You really want to find these teams that are down bad right now and take advantage of them. As rude as that is to say, that really is how you're going to get better. But overall, I'd say your team is still very good. You don't have to sell Kareem Hunt. In fact, if you think this league is not like keeping up with news as much as you are, then you might be able to wait another week because Kareem Hunt has a great matchup. But also, if he doesn't perform well and there's more talks about Pacheco next week, it'll be very tough to sell him. So the sell for Kareem Hunt right now is easy. He's been a smash start the last 2 weeks. He's been one of the best running backs in fantasy. He has the Raiders, right? But Pacheco seems like he's coming back week 11 or so. So he'd be my main player I'm trying to move. Outside of that, I think you're chilling, man. Because if you move Kareem Hunt, and like Badaki said, you get a Deebo Samuel straight up, great. You still start Brian Robinson. You still have Tyrone Tracy that you can flex.
Exactly.
And then on the waiver wire, like I said, I do think Palmer should be picked up. I drop a day. Especially in an 18-team league, Palmer should definitely be rostered. And honestly, Trey Benson too. Don't you think?
I'm happy. I'm happy with both of those guys. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. If you don't get Palmer, get Benson instead of Bidet. But overall, really good team. I think that's the main move you can make. Don't worry about quarterback. Ride it out rest of the season.
Appreciate you, man. Cody Kins is next. He says, "Hey guys, 4-3." He's
okay, hold on. I need to refresh my page.
Okay, no worries. Take your time. Do what you got to do.
Let's see.
We appreciate you guys showing man love today. Honestly,
why don't we do some of these super chats real fast? Because I know these people have been waiting over here. Let's get through 4 super chats. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's get to the super chats here. I think the first one we can see here is Akshay.
Traded Metcalf for Auten Marv. Is that a W or an L? I would have preferred Metcalf rest of season.
Metcalf rest of season as well. I agree. We're not. I mean, Marvin Harrison is concerning me right now. Maybe
he's going to be better.
Year 1 is not the guy. Yeah, year 1 is not it, but he will be better. Next question is Njoku or Ingram?
Would you start Auten or Ferguson this week?
I'm going Ferguson. I think you said Auten earlier.
I did say Auten earlier, but I can see both sides. Effie says Njoku or Ingram and Brian Robinson or JSN.
Njoku
I'm going. Ooh, Njoku or Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
Interesting.
I'm going Evan Ingram. I like Njoku.
Same.
I would like to see it first. I need to be.
You just saw it all last week, though.
Yeah, I mean.
What do you mean? Yeah, come on. That was like the best performance of the week at the position.
Yeah, I know. Look, I would like to see a little bit more. I would like to see a consistent game where full game. I mean, look, you have 14 targets. I think that's a little bit unrealistic. So, like, I think it's great, but I would still trust Evan Ingram more right now.
Fair enough.
Not saying I don't trust Njoku, just want to see it a little bit more.
It's always funny when you're like, he had too many targets.
No, it's not that he had too many targets.
Making...
It's just like, it's not that he had too many targets. Just I think that's just unrealistic.
That's fine, but I think he's shown enough. That's fine. Anyways, besides the point, I'm going Brian Robinson over JSN.
Agreed.
Malcolm says Tank or Dubs. It must be Dobbs.
Dobbs. Yeah, look, Tank. Great matchup against the Colts. I think he'll have a bounce back week. I'm gonna go Tank, but Dubs is Romeo is also a great start.
Yeah, I would go Tank with you as well. I'm right there with you, brother. Bruce says, please rank the following full PPR: Bateman, McLeod, or McMillan. Thanks.
If Zay Flower doesn't play, I'm going Bateman. I'm going McMillan and then McLeod.
Yes, and if
Zay Flowers
plays, McMillan, Bateman,
McLeod. Agreed.
All right, we got through some of those super chats. Of course, the website is the best place to prioritize your question, guys. Pinned comment is in the chat. I'll also put a new one in there now. But let's get back to some of these questions here. A start sit from Cody Kins. Hey guys, 4-3, trying to avoid the endless pit of 3 and 4s. Is post by Dak the truth? I would start Sam Darnold over him this week, but I do like him still.
I agree. I'm going to start Sam Darnold at the running back position. Brian Robinson, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara. I'm starting Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara.
I'd start Achane over him, but we can talk flex.
I agree. We're going to start Achane. I didn't see Achane there. Sorry. Wide receivers. Drake London. Gosh, this is interesting. If DK doesn't play,
with no
DK, yeah. At the tight end position, I'm starting Trey McBride.
Yep.
And at the wide receiver or flex position, I'm going Alvin.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly how I'd have it.
Tough to sit Brian Robinson though.
Yeah.
Much. You need to consolidate. You need to get some of these players off your team upgrade at the wide receiver position or something.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, with D-Hop, I'd love to play D-Hop, but I just don't know what his involvement will be week 1, so I'd rather go on JSN without DK.
I agree.
But, yeah, I mean, you could package like B-Rob and Wandale and get a real upgrade at running back or wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that might be the best bet.
Angel Tavaro. I'm looking for a flex spot, and I need to start winning weeks. I want to make the playoffs. I think here's where you can go Achane.
Yeah, I'm going Achane, no question.
Right, with Tua back, he should be back to his league-winning form. So I'm gonna go Achane there. It's been really tough for Achane for a couple reasons, but a lot of it's been they have no threat to throw the ball, so it's made the run game really difficult to be explosive. Daniel says, first time playing fantasy, having trouble with wide receiver and don't know who to start. First off, it looks like they left a little tip here with this $15 donation, so I want to give them a free trade question voucher.
We appreciate
Thanks for the love. But they're starting Lamar, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, DK, DJ Moore, and David Njoku. And at the flex, they've got a lot of great names. I don't see how you sit Ken Walker, though.
Yeah, I would say, like, if DK doesn't play, maybe we need to give him that option, which looks like is unlikely. And most likely it's going to have to be Debo. But if Debo doesn't play, I'm not sure if there's any other play you can start at that wide receiver position unless there's still a McMillan still available on the waiver wires, which I doubt.
Yeah, I bet there's more wide receivers on your team, but we just don't have access to them. Yeah. But yeah, obviously if both Debo and DK don't play, I don't think DK will, honestly, so I'll go ahead and put Debo in there. But you kind of have to pray that Debo plays. And if they don't, you need to find a waiver wire option, or you need to use Jordan Mason in a trade to go get a wide receiver.
Yeah, and just let us know you have. Obviously, you just got that free, that thank you. So you can potentially use that one and let us know who those flex options are on, or those waiver wire people on your waivers. So we appreciate
this. This is a team review from Javrin. Says, I'm currently 3-4. I also have Bigsby on the waivers. Is there any way to improve my team? So it's a 10-team start 7. Their team name is Just Give Me My Money. And they are currently 6th in my rankings on the team analyzer.
Yep, so I can see that as well.
They are 3-4, and they've got a starting lineup of Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kareem Hunt. They are starting Chase, Waddle, Smith, Sam Laporta. Definitely need some more depth there at running back in a start 7.
Yeah,
so I probably would be dropping Sutton for... Wow, Jonathan Brooks is out there. Hey,
Jonathan Brooks available. I mean, look, I'm picking up My goodness.
I'm picking up Brooks and Bigsby.
Yeah, 1,000%. I'm dropping Isaiah Likely for that. I'm dropping Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, perfect.
For that. I'm not sure who else is of going to, like, how many roster spots you have on your team, but that's exactly where I would be going here.
I think we instantly just improved your team just by making those moves alone on the waiver wire. And then at tight end, I mean, to be honest, like your wide receivers and tight ends are kind of mid on the waivers, but your running backs, there's so much value there.
Yeah.
So definitely make those moves. And then I think, just like we said earlier, I'm not opposed to looking at alternatives to Kareem Hunt, just thinking long term. Do we want to explore that first? Or let's give a team grade first. I'd say C plus B minus range.
Yeah. I was saying B minus. Happy to explore Kareem Hunt, see what you can do, see what you can get. If you want to package Kareem and Wandale, try and upgrade at that running back position. I'm looking at the likes of let's look at the league first, actually. Let's see. This guy doesn't have anyone. I
think Brian Robinson's a great pivot if you can do that straight up as a long-term name.
Sure.
James Conner's a great pivot if you can do that straight up long-term. I don't know if I'd want Swift. I think I'd want to stay with Hunt.
I would want Kareem Hunt as well.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But I wouldn't be opposed, like, if we did like a Swift plus Puka. Well, he's 3 and 4, isn't he? He can't really afford Puka. Okay, so like a Swift plus Marvin for a Hunt plus Wandale, for example. I think that could be great if you want to go the Swift route. And then again, you add Jonathan Brooks and you add Tajay Tank Bigsby. That's automatically going to give you more depth there at running back. You have lost some games because Waddle's had no quarterback. That changes this week. You've lost games because Sam Laporta hasn't been targeted. That probably changed this week with Jameson Williams going on suspension. So yeah, I think really the main move I'd like to make is that pivot from Kareem Hunt. I'm not worried about quarterback. I'm not too worried about my wide receiver room. That's pretty strong. And Laporta should be better without Jameson. My starting lineup is going to this week be Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kareem Hunt, or if I trade for Swift or one of those other running backs of Brian Robinson. At wide receiver, we're starting Chase, Waddle, Smith, and we got Laporta at tight end. I think that's a pretty solid lineup, man. I really think Kareem Hunt's the main move here. I don't see another move. You can't sell Waddle. I want to buy him. I'm not going to move Jamar Chase. I can't sell Smith off of a shit game. Kareem Hunt's the main piece you can move here because it's a great matchup upcoming. We don't know how long he'll be the starter. Sam Laporta's not playing well. You know, that's the only sell I see here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sell Kareem Hunt, see if we can try and pivot to someone a little bit more safe. And by the way, guys, the reason why we're saying that because the reports of Isaiah Pacheco coming out, if there's any truth to that, and Isaiah Pacheco does come back, let's just say by the playoffs for fantasy football, what is that going to look like for Kareem Hunt, that role? And that's just going to keep you out of weird limbo. Yeah, but at the same time, he probably won't even come back, and he comes for the playoffs, for the real NFL playoffs, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, and I've been thinking it through, like, why do the Chiefs need to bring him back at 6-0? Why would they need to do that? But just the reports alone are enough to, like, slightly scare me off a bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, but we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. A lot of team reviews today, and we really appreciate all you guys. I think Daniel 007 is next with the team review.
And by the way, I just want to quickly say, like, don't give up. You're still in there. You're still in there. You had some unlucky situations. You're still in there. Go ahead.
No worries, Jay. We appreciate you, man. If you have a super message, then I can't see that, so you go for it.
Oh, okay. It's Daniel 007. He says, that's it. We'll do a team review. Your two big brains are mine. We are making me a back, period.
Okay.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure is the next one up.
Is it? Is it a team review?
Yeah.
Is it Daniel? It is
Yeah, it
Daniel
is
next to
Danny.
the team
Daniel
reveal.
007. So we
Hey,
appreciate
Daniel,
you, man.
we actually appreciate you. You've been so consistent this offseason. Here's a start-sit question for free on us,
Yeah, man.
just as a
That's
thank you.
awesome.
You should have that voucher in your account now. You've been a great support. I remember, I think his first donation, he was in the plane, and for some reason
Yeah,
that
he was
that
like,
stuck in my mind.
that stuck 100%. He was like, "Yep, on the way. I don't know where he was going." And then like he came back. He was like, "Did my question get answered?" Because the Wi-Fi was going in and out. He's like, "Oh, you know." I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Anyways,
For some reason,
we
he's
appreciate
stuck
it.
with me since then, and we appreciate you, man.
It's been
But
awesome.
this is a 1 quarterback, 12 team start, 7 half PPR. He says, we got this. I dropped Tua, traded Derek. Oh, no. And Amari for Nico and Monty. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know about that. He says, I have a solid team. What can I do? His name is Bushy Breeze. And he's pretty much tied for first in our rankings right now. But go ahead.
Yeah, Bushy Breeze, you're 2 and 5, which is unfortunate. So, are you bottom of your league currently? No, you are one of 1, 2, 3 teams that are 2 and 5, which is not ideal. So you're probably either 10th, 11th, or 12th.
But
let's
at least there's a lot of 2 and 5 teams.
Exactly. So it definitely can turn around here. So this is a start 7. This is a smaller league. You have Tua who's coming back. You start this week. Your starting lineup is Dave Montgomery if he plays with James Cook. At the wide receiver position, you have A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp who plays this week, and then I will be starting Jalen Waddle over Kareem Hunt. I think Zach's going to be starting Kareem Hunt.
I'd start Kareem Hunt. It's just such a great matchup.
Yeah.
I think they're going to dominate the Raiders.
Yeah. With Evan Ingram there.
Oh, D-Hop's on waivers, bro. Brother, go get DeAndre Hopkins off waivers right now. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Stop listening to us. Go get DeAndre Hopkins off waivers. He's gonna have to drop Drake May. I love Drake May. You gotta go get Drake. You gotta go get DeAndre Hopkins. That gives you so much flexibility in a trade.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. And I mean, look, I think this is a great team. The wide receivers are phenomenal. When Nico Collins comes back, I'm selling Jalen Waddle as high as possible for anything I can potentially get. Unless you're okay with that, you want to keep the depth, sure. But my first move here.
Before we continue, I just want to revisit the trade, okay? Because he traded Derrick Henry and Amari for Nico and Monty, and in a half PPR format, I just don't think I would do that.
Sure,
it's too late now.
With Derrick Henry, yeah. I mean, look, it's not ideal, but I don't know when you traded for Nico. If you traded this earlier for Nico Collins, it was probably great.
It was earlier before he was injured, and
like if you did this and you knew Nico was going to go on IR, it was like, oh, I'll just wait until Nico comes back. That probably hurt your team being 2 and 5, to be completely honest with you. But you're still in the mix, to be completely honest.
Maybe he did it before Amari was traded, so it was like you were sending away Derrick Henry for the wide receiver 1. In a really good running back, but anyway.
And Monty was killing it at the time, so like it kind of felt like an even trade. Yeah, 100%. So I think this is fine. One of the things I would do, I'm not sure about you, but I would be okay maybe trying to sell one of these running backs.
Well, what I was gonna say is, why don't we package Chubb and Waddle, because we don't need, or actually, let's package Waddle and Hunt. And the reason I say that is because obviously everything we've already said about Kareem Hunt on the stream. But we can still flex if we do that, the player that we get back in return, or Nick Chubb, or Tank Bigsby. So can we package Kareem Hunt and Jalen Waddle? And if we package those twos, I think we should be shooting for the moon.
Okay.
And let's find a team that needs running back help first.
Well, the team that needs running back help right now is Team Carney's 5 and 2. He doesn't have much wide receivers though, unfortunately.
I was gonna say Team Roland.
Team Roland.
Who has CMC, Chuba, and Mason.
Roland.
Jefferson's gonna be hard to acquire here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can get that.
Yeah, that's a perfect team, but not the perfect pieces.
Maybe Bluetooth. Tony has Jonathan Taylor. I know he's coming back with Tony Pollard. Can we get?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we can't really shoot for the stars with CeeDee Lamb, but maybe
it's funny because Terry would be perfect, but we don't know if Daniels is playing this week, and we need a win.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
yeah,
That's
true.
not the. That's not the
It's
team
not.
either. Let's keep looking.
That's not the team.
How
He
about
needs like a
neighbors?
win now.
With I shot my neighbors. Can you get neighbors in that deal off a bad game? Again, Hunt and Waddle for neighbors.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Um,
JC could be interesting. Hunt. He has Kenneth Walker, Ramondre. He has Travis Etienne, Hunt, and Waddle. I doubt he's gonna want to send Amon-Ra.
I would send
Or Brian
I would send
Thomas.
Waddle or Kareem straight up for Debo. I wouldn't package both of them, but then again, we don't know if Debo plays this week.
Yeah.
Man, this is actually one of the more difficult ones to find. There's no perfect team yet, is there?
Team 4, Team Chunky Funky. He needs another running back there.
Can you get London there?
London, I'll be okay with that. He just lost a wide receiver in Chris Godwin. He has Rasheed Rice there.
Yeah, his starting lineup is struggling right now. So if you can offer him 2 names for a London, I think he'd be really interested in that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Would you do
That actually might be the best team there.
Waddle for Adams if you can get that done? Maybe like Waddle and Chubb for Adams.
Yeah,
I'd try that.
I'm okay with that.
Outside of that, man, I mean, I'm struggling to find a good fit.
I agree.
It's tough because when Nico comes back, he's going to be one of the best receivers in football. But at 2 and 5, can we afford to wait?
I think like
can we afford to go 2 and 6?
Yeah, I say if you can't get those trades done, I think you should be okay. Depending on who you're playing this week, you should be okay this week.
You had a great lineup this week.
The fact that you get Cooper Kupp this week is tremendous. If Cooper Kupp wasn't come back this week, you probably need to make a trade. Actually, no, because you have depth at running back position. So once again, you're starting lineup 2 of this week: Monty, James Cook, AJ Brown, Cooper Kupp. I'm starting Jalen Waddle. Zach starting Kareem Hunt at the flex with Evan Ingram. You pick up DeAndre Swift or DeAndre Hopkins.
If you can't get a trade done for Kareem Hunt, then I think you should consider Nico Collins, but only do it if it's a huge upgrade. Like if you're selling Nico Collins, you need a top 5 player back. No questions about it. You need a top 5 player back that you can start straight away. You need to turn Nico Collins and Kareem Hunt into Breece Hall as an example, right? Outside of that, man, it's a good team. I think you've been unlucky. I really do. And your waivers are stacked. I love your waiver wire. I'm jealous. Yeah. The waiver wire in the Flock League is so bare.
Yeah, sharp minds.
Good team, Daniel. Good team. Make some of those moves. Let us know what you get done, and feel free to come before you make any move, before you make any trade. Feel free to come back and ask us our thoughts on it. Right? We're always going to be here on these streams.
Yeah. The
CD,
next question
TD.
we see, CD TD. So you get Aaron Jones and Jaden Reed, and they receive CD Lamb.
10 teams start 7.
10 teams start 7. Who are your wide receivers? So you currently have Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, you had Rasheed Rice, and you have CD Lamb. And your running backs are Tank Bigsby, Dave Montgomery, Brian Robinson. I'm okay with this trade. I don't know how you feel about it.
I just hate the idea of losing CD in a 10 team, but
I think he doesn't have the wide receivers to play. Like, you can't trust a lot every week. You can't trust in.
Lost Rasheed Rice, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, you lost. Deontay Johnson. You can't trust every week. Like, you get the depth. You get another running back that you can start technically in the flex, star 7, or Jaden Reed. So your starting lineup is probably Geno this week with Brian Robinson, Monty. Your wide receiver 1 is going to be Jaden Reed now, with Brian Thomas as your wide receiver 2, with Aaron Jones in your flex.
Yeah, I actually agree. This is a fair trade. Let's go get Aaron Jones and Jaden Reed. I'm with you. It's just tough. I still think CeeDee Lamb can finish as a wide receiver 1 overall, even though it's been rough right now. I still think that's a possibility. All right.
Comfortable.
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, want Lamb, waiting till after this week. What to add to Reed to make it even? Thanks, funny. Guys. Look, I'm in the Flock League trying to get CD Lamb, and I've been offering like Jaden Reed in the small piece, and it's not happening.
Which is fair.
That's,
What's the small
yeah.
piece you've been offering?
Well, he needs a running back, so Alexander Madison.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a reason he's not accepting that.
Oh well, it just depends on just if you need a win, brother. Get a win. I mean, I've altered him. Honestly, I offered Reed and DJ Moore, and he still said no. So, anyways,
So we're gonna be sending away Jaden Reed for CeeDee Lamb. And our team, by the way, currently has Mahomes, Kareem, CMC, Mason, Debo. I think what you could probably do is a 2-for-2 deal here. Actually, Chuba Hubbard is the first name I try. Now that I'm thinking about this, I try Chuba Hubbard if that works. Wait a second. Sorry, we're trying to add to the Reed side. My bad.
add to the Reed side, yeah.
So I would actually change that name to a Jordan Addison.
Yep, that was first player I was going for.
If that doesn't work, I think what you can try is
maybe Nick Chubb if he needs a running back, because you have
Chubb,
Monty, Aaron Jones, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and J.K. Dobbins, and Kenneth Walker. Oh my God! I mean, shit. I'm happy. How? Oh, it's a star 8. It's an 8 man.
I'll add J.K. to this.
I'm honestly happy to add like Jaden Reed, and it may feel crazy, but like Jaden Reed and one of these running backs.
Yeah, I think those are your options there: Addison, Jaden Reed and Chubb, or Jaden Reed and Dobbins.
Yeah, like let's get it done.
Yeah, all right, I like that. Happy Emo here with the trade question: sending away Kareem, Smith, and Waddle to get Bijan in a 10-team start 7. I like the idea. I don't know if I want to give up that much. We don't have our team linked here, unfortunately, so I can't say what else. But to me, if this was Waddle and Kareem, let's do it. But and Smith, it feels a little too much to add the third player there.
Yeah, and I know it's a start 7, so I think it just really depends. You're selling Waddle at the wrong time. Devonta Smith coming off of essentially he didn't play for 3 games, only had like 1 target for like I think he had less than 1 point. Because he missed 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So like you're selling at the wrong time for both of these players. So I would agree.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think it's time to go to Super Chats. I don't think there's anything else on the site. We've got a couple team reviews, which we probably will get to today. But let's go to these Super Chats over on YouTube.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys being patient. Obviously, you can definitely go on the website and try. At least we like it. We think it's a better experience, but we would still love you guys here on YouTube, no doubt about it. The next question on YouTube is Kyle, who's been in the chat talking it up. We appreciate you, Kyle. Says, I started off arguing with these guys, now all love. Full PPR pick 1. Chubb,
I can't
Shakira.
even see the Kyle one. I can't even bring it up.
Go to like analytics. Have you done that?
Let me try. Yeah, like YouTube won't let me go that far up in the chat anymore.
That's okay.
First one I can see is Daniel Wright. How far off am I?
Just 1 off.
Okay. Let me you go ahead then. If he's here, say sorry. The question won't come on the screen, but
yeah. He says full PPR pick 1. Chubb, Shakira, Romeo Dobbs. He says love you guys, long time. First and second place, guys. Y'all running it. Yeah, we appreciate you. Who am I starting this week? In the flex position, I would most likely be starting Romeo this week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Romeo, great
Between
matchup.
Chubb, Shakir, and Dobbs. Yeah, I'm gonna go Romeo too.
I can't start Nick Chubb against the Ravens. It's a tough matchup, even though they looked pretty weak last week. But anyways, Daniel Wright is next. He says Tank Dell or Hopkins this week and rest of the season. This week I want Tank Dell. Rest of the season, it's most likely DeAndre Hopkins.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, especially because Collins is coming back.
Yeah, straight.
Zesty.
Adams, Cooper, Brian Thomas, McMillan, Jennings, Bateman, pick 3. It's going to be Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, and Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Mad Max, thank you so much. He says, would you trade Brian Thomas, who is a round 7 keeper, for DJ Moore and James Cook?
No, not if he's
wide
a round 7
receivers.
keeper. That means you're going to keep him around 7 next year, and he's probably going to be going in round 2.
Yeah, wide receivers are BGJT. Yeah, I would agree. Tracy, then maybe Brown. Yeah, I agree.
That's just too valuable to your team next year and the way you're going to build your squad.
He's going.
Huh?
You think Brian Thomas is going to go in the 2nd round next year?
Yeah. He's a wide receiver 8 right now as a rookie.
Yeah, look, I can see it. I can see it. Anyways. Search.
I think so. I mean, I think he's like 4th in receiving yards in the NFL. And he's only going to get better. He's only going to earn more targets, you know? So I think so. Where do you think he'll go?
I think it's round 2, but I don't know if it's like, you said round 2, so I guess
it was a round 2 pick.
My first, yeah, and I hated it.
Okay, so the reason I'm saying that
yeah,
though is like a rookie wide receiver who produces, but he didn't do what Brian Thomas is doing.
No, absolutely not. And I'm not arguing. Know? I think he will go 2nd round. I guess my instant thought was like you're saying, 1-2 turn 2nd round where Chris Olave went, and I'm like, oh, I see him more towards the end of the 2nd, maybe mid-2nd, but that's not really that big of a difference. Anyway,
no, that's fair.
But I would say I do like that package for DJ Moore and James Cook, but in the keeper league, it just depends on where that value is going to be.
Yeah, because that would mean I assume that you wouldn't be able to keep DJ Moore or James Cook at any value.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's why I would rather keep Brian with building my team next year.
I completely agree. Dynasty Superflex Titan Premium Rebuild. Give Pitts and Sharp. Get Ayuk and Shaheed.
Okay.
Gosh.
Interesting.
Titan Premium Rebuild. Well, in a rebuild, in a Titan Premium, the way Kyle Pitts is playing this year makes me want to keep him over Ayuk and Shaheed, but that's just might be one.
Kyle, you did it, baby. You fucking
Finally.
did it.
It took forever, to be honest with you.
I lost hope. I'm not gonna lie.
Goodness.
I held on as long as I possibly could, and as soon as I gave up, he was like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Can we be fair? Can I just say one caveat for Kyle Pitts? He's doing it on a terrible down year for the tight end position. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna take anything else away from him. Just saying.
Respectfully, what year hasn't been a terrible year for tight ends outside of like 2 names?
I guess like the top 3 names coming in, even top 4 coming in, are not producing. Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. I mean, Dalton Kincaid.
Averaging over 74 yards per game in the past 3 games.
Yeah, and once again, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying he's doing it on a terrible down year for the top 4 tight ends to be honestly non-existent. So
yeah,
I'm not saying that he is going to be bad for the rest of the season or you shouldn't do this in Dynasty. Just saying, like,
sure.
Hey, anyways, yes, I won't call Pitts side though.
I'm gonna go Pitts, especially tight end premium. It's close. Appreciate you. Palmer says sent away Cup and Pollard for a 1st, 2nd, and Tyrone Tracy. Genuinely surprised you were able to get a 1st for any of those names. So well done.
Agreed.
Like, of course, Cup is an incredible player, but he's aging. We talked about his injuries last year, and we got clowned on in our Dynasty channel for not valuing him too high. He's aging. He's gonna have injuries. It's gonna happen, right? And Pollard is fine, but you just got great value. I mean, Tyrone Tracy, if he takes over that role, will be more valuable in Dynasty than Pollard in a month from now if he takes over the role.
Agreed. Completely agreed. Zombie ate my neighbors. 2 flexes. Mooney. Okay. For me, this is Dobbs and Darnell Mooney.
Wow. This is a really tough question because all these guys are kind of same tier. I think you can make a case for any one of these names outperforming the other, genuinely. Myers, number 1 weapon there. Dobbs in a great matchup off a heater. McMillan should be the number 1 receiver. Hopkins going to Kansas City. Jennings, probably the number 1 receiver if no Debo. Mooney in a great offense. I feel like this is if I have a question like this, I typically go to my wife.
You have a girlfriend?
And I say, hey, babe, I'm going to say a bunch of names. She knows nothing about the NFL. And I'm like, just tell me which names you like the best. Yeah. And then whatever name she likes the best, I'm like, cool. I'm going to rock with you then. But if I had to say my rankings, if there's no Debo, it's probably Jennings and Mooney. Okay. If Debo plays, it's probably Mooney and Dobbs.
Yeah, for me, this is Mooney and Dobbs. And I understand Jennings should be a great game for him. He'd most likely be the wide receiver 1 if Ayuk and Debo is out, which is a fair assumption. Daniel Garcia, guys, should I trade Waddle for JSN? Absolutely not. Don't do it.
No, keep Waddle. Yeah, keep Waddle.
Rob Hopkins.
It's time for salvation. Why trade him now?
Salvation is here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Rob Hopkins, add D-Hop, drop JSN, my wide receiver 5, or tank my RB4. This might be a really small league, potentially.
It sounds like a small league. I think you drop JSN, as hard as that is for me to hear. I'm
gonna drop JSN there.
D-Hop's just an instant upgrade. But JSN could definitely, JSN could have 25 points this week with no DK. He really could.
Yeah.
But DK will come back.
Mm-hmm. 2 trade offers, full PPR, Kyron for Monty. And
Amari.
Kyron and Amari, or let's try that. Kyron for Monty and Amari. I would want Monty and Amari. Or Kyron and Pickens for Kenneth Walker, Mooney, Addison. I want the first trade.
The second trade I hate.
I hate the second trade.
Yeah. The first trade is interesting, and I think I'd really need to know more. Like, what sort of format are you in? Because if you're in a 12-team league, and it's start 8, then I'll take Monty and Amari. But if you're in a 10-team start 7, I'm probably keeping Kyron, or an 8-team league, I'm probably keeping Kyron. So I think that really changes how I answer the question.
He said thoughts because DK, Ayuk, and Pickens are his wide receivers. So even with that context, as much as you need wide receivers, I'm not doing it for...
Oh, that's... Okay, actually, that is... You kind of need help, dude, without Ayuk. I think it's fair. I'll take Monty and Amari, but I'll still hold true to, if it's an 8-team league, you keep Kyron. Anything beyond that, you go Amari and Monty.
Yeah. Christian, thank you so much. He says, I need help on running back. I have Kyron, number 1 RB, but I don't know if I should play James Cook or Javonte Williams this week. Thanks for the help, guys. Look, I'm still going James Cook. Javonte Williams, a phenomenal matchup against the Panthers. Even more of a reason to start him with Bryce Young playing. But I'm still going James Cook here. Maybe Javonte Williams could be somebody you're flexing. Who are your flex options? Or if you're telling me, are you starting Darnell Mooney or Javonte Williams?
Javonte's one of my favorite plays this week. Definitely.
Yeah. Are you starting JSN or Javonte Williams? Are you starting? Who else is a good flex option this week?
I actually have Cook and Javonte back-to-back in my rankings this week.
Okay.
So it's really close. I do lean James Cook, but that's how much I like Javonte.
Javonte is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that could be for any other, the Jennings, the Romes, the Kirks, I think we will both start Javonte over those guys just this week based off matchup. White guy 1, Amari Cooper or Jalen Waddle?
The first one, the first edition.
He is the first white guy. I mean, honestly, you might be the problem.
Damn.
Amari Cooper or Jalen Waddle? I'm going Jalen Waddle this week. Actually, hold on. Let me just triple check my rankings.
For me.
Let me triple check my rankings. I said that.
5 targets. I think he played 35% of snaps last week. I'm gonna go Amari.
I'm gonna go Waddle. I love Amari this week. They're both really close in the same tier for me. But I'm gonna go Jalen Waddle with 2.
Yeah, that's
back
fair.
There.
I think GM.
Yeah, GM. Kamara or Najee? Kamar, given Najee's injury, quarterback. Yeah, still
The only
Kamar
way
will
it's
start.
Najee is if there's a no PPR format in your league, right?
Yeah.
But with Jalen Warren back, don't be surprised if we start seeing Warren have good games.
Yeah, and to be fair, Najee is playing the Giants. We're pretty good against the run. We just played against Saquon Barkley, and I think it was just a mental game for the whole team.
Yeah, he just took your entire franchise's pants down and gave you the
Yeah.
biggest slap on the ass. Said,
You know what's crazy?
"Bam!"
I know this is so completely like random, but I don't know if you saw the clip of like Nick Sirianni sitting with Saquon. I was like, "You're 13 yards away from the record. Do you want it?" He was like, "Nah, let him eat. Let the young players eat." Which I think, at least as a Giants fan, I feel like Saquon was like, "Nah, I don't want to do it to them." You know,
Right. Which
like
is interesting because you guys have been so annoying about it. All
as
the
in,
Giants fans about Saquon's
oh, 100%.
decision.
And then Saquon has the opportunity, knowing he can get easily 13 yards. It's like, no, it's all right.
He's not the man you deserve, but he's the man that, whatever.
He don't deserve 26 million. Anyways, doesn't matter. Dan,
Kamara, yeah.
Start Darnold or Mayfield this week. I'm going Sam Darnold this week.
Same, yeah. Team Kung Fu Cats had a question, but it was deleted. Anthony is next, and they say start Sam Darnold or Caleb. I'm gonna go Sam Darnold this week.
Yeah,
love that matchup versus the Rams. Should be a fun one with Cooper Kupp back. ETL says start 3 full PPR: Kupp, Cooper, Devontae, Reed, Brian. Got to start Kupp in my opinion, and then after that it would be Jaden Reed, and then between it's probably Amari Cooper over Brian Thomas this week.
Over for me. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Daniel Wright.
Yeah, this might be the last one, guys. We really appreciate you. We've been almost live for 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
And I think we have to create content. I have to make graphics. There's so much to do. Daniel Wright, thank you so much for being the last one today. Dell or Hopkins this week / rest of season. I think we had a similar question, and we both said DeAndre Hopkins rest of season, and we both said Tank Dell this week.
Yeah, we actually had almost the same question not too long ago. I think it was a different person who asked it, so that's funny. But yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. Dell this week, Hopkins rest of season. But I would you prefer Waddle or Hopkins rest of season? I actually don't know. I think Waddle, but I don't know how that pans out. I'm not confident in how that pans out, but I do prefer Waddle.
Obviously if Tua is healthy rest of season, I want Waddle. I feel like the upside's higher. Like I said, I like DeAndre Hopkins, but I think he's just an older guy. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to be like the Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be more of like 5'6", has a touchdown here and there. But he's just going to have a safe floor. I think that floor is going to be 12 to 15 points on a week to week basis. But I still want Jalen Waddle. I think he has the higher upside.
Do you have some questions on the site? Some site questions. So let's get to those. So first one is from L Jet, and it's a team review. Appreciate you. Okay. Says, hey guys, wanted to know what you could do to improve my team. Definitely need RB help and want to get rid of Chuba ASAP. What are my options? So his name is Starvin Marvin. He is 4th in the rankings here, and he is 5-2. He's got Kyler Murray. It's a start 7, so he's currently starting Kyler, Jacobs, Chuba, Chase, Kupp, Marvin probably. Kittle, it's a pretty good team. Definitely weak at running back. Tyrone Tracy is on your waiver wire. Don't know how that's possible. He should be rostered in every single 12-team league. So first things first, if you're watching this, stop watching. Go add Tyrone Tracy. I think you can drop Wicks to do it. I think you can drop Henry if you wanted to. Those are the 2 names that you could drop. But you've got to get Tyrone on this team. Because especially if you want to trade Chuba, that's going to give you flexibility. But overall, I would give this team, I'd say B-.
Yeah, I would. For me, this was a B flat for me. I like this team. A start 7, a smaller league. I think your only downfall is this RB2 position. Like you did mention, trying to sell Chuba Hubbard right now. So if we can do that, maybe Chuba Hubbard and a Tank Dell or Jackson Smith and Jigba to see what you can then go out and get at that running back position. Maybe Tank Dell might be the guy you might want to sell high now and just keep Jackson Smith and Jigba, who at the moment has a safe floor.
Can't sell
giving you
Tank
like
High right now though off of a
off of that bad
0-point
game. No.
I
but
think
like
what you'd have to do is sell JSN, knowing that Metcalf is going to be out this week. So
sure.
that's your path
Okay,
forward.
we could do that.
Package Chuba and JSN, and then let's go and try and find a running back. Right. So Chuba plus JSN. Can that get us into trying to be realistic here, like a Montgomery?
Yeah.
If you can get Monty, that's a smash. If you can get Brian Robinson, I think I'd do that too. James Cook.
I would think like even DeAndre Swift plus something. I don't know how you feel about that.
Sure.
Chuba
I don't know what plus JSN for DeAndre Swift plus Olave if they're down on him. I just got Olave pretty cheap.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that. I like DeAndre Swift rest of the season. Who
if
else
you can
could we
get Aaron Jones in that same deal, I think that's great.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I think that's your main options there if you're gonna try and upgrade from Chuba. Or you could send him to the Jonathan Brooks owner. Would you send Chuba to the Brooks owner for Kareem Hunt straight up? Just say, hey, we're both concerned. Let's just call it a day. I think so.
We're both concerned. I just have a bigger window than you do.
Exactly. See if they're not thinking about it. I mean, I would even add. Where's our team again? I would even add like a Wicks or a Sutton or one of these low level names to get it done. Not Jaylen Warren though.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'm okay with that.
But yeah, I think that's like we said. Add Tyrone Tracy straight away. Try and trade Chuba Hubbard for one of those packages that we just mentioned. And if you can't trade Chuba Hubbard, this is your next course of action, which would be to package a Marvin and a JSN and try and get a better wide receiver 3. So, for example, if we're packaging Marvin, let's try and find a team that's like got no depth. For example, the Drake London guy. Can you go get Drake London? Probably not. That's probably too ambitious. Let's try and find a more realistic option. What's his record right now? He's 5-2. Can you try and go get Nico or a Puka? Can you go get a Jaden Reed off a bad game? Can you wait on Mike Evans? Can you go get a DK who's injured? The team who's 1-6 has DK. That's perfect. I think those are your main options, or Garrett Wilson to the team who has no depth whatsoever. That makes a lot of sense, I think, for you. So again, course of action, pick up Tyrone Tracy. Once you've done that, try and trade Chuba Hubbard for some of the packages that we mentioned. If that doesn't work out, package Marvin and JSN in a deal. You can also make that Marvin and Dell or Marvin and Worthy if they have a preference. Don't trade George Kittle. Don't trade Kupp or Chase. Everything else is on the table. But overall, you're definitely making the playoffs. If you can just make some of those moves before Chuba loses value, I think you'll be sitting pretty.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that, team. We really, really appreciate you. I think that we do have 2 more trades. Adam, as a trade question, he says George Kittle for Devonta Smith and Hunter Henry is a 10-team start 7. I think if you need the depth at the wide receiver position, I am totally okay with it. Which you have Cooper Kupp, Martin Harrison Jr., and Jordan Addison with Brian Thomas Jr.
I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna sell George Kittle, especially after the Ayuk injury.
And Debo might be missing this week, so
Debo could miss time. But with no Ayuk, I mean George Kittle, I just think he's gonna keep feasting. You know.
Yeah, I like that. I like that thought process. For me, it's like if you need the wide receiver help and you're struggling at the wide receiver position, sure. If not, at the moment, your top 3 wide receivers in the start 7 looks like it's Cooper Kupp, Marvin, and Brian Thomas, which I think that's fine. You don't really have to go out and get somebody. You do have George Kittle now. Do you have like another tight end on your team? No, it's just George Kittle. Yeah, I'm happy to keep him.
Yeah, I'd keep him. It's just that upside is so rare right now at the tight end position as well. I think we might have one more question here on the site from TJ Graft. It's a trade question. One side would get Pickens and Ladd. The other side would get Marvin. It's a 12-team start 8. I like this as a buy low on Marvin personally. How do you view it?
I agree. I like it as a buy low. Start 8. So this is a 2-for-1, a little bit bigger of a format. 4 wide receivers you can start. I always just like to look, now that we have this feature on the site, his top two wide receivers, Drake London, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He gets Marvin Harrison Jr. And then his next wide receivers is Christian Watson and Shakira.
This is a great move for you. You have the depth to make the move. And who knows what happens with Marvin rest of the season, but I like the buy low. I like the risk of this deal, right? Sure, it could not pan out, but I like the risk of that move. There are 2 teams that we haven't reviewed their team yet. They are dynasty teams. If you are I Can't Spell Win or Skrill, I promise we'll get to your teams. Just probably not on today's stream for lack of time. And we will finish off this. The last thing that we can do today is from Scano. Trade Hunt for Smith. Got Cook, Hall, Cup, Shakir. I think that's fair.
I think that's fair as well. I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a fair deal, even value. What I will say is if Pacheco's out for the entire year, you definitely want Kareem Hunt. I just don't know when that happens. So if you're worried about Pacheco coming back, then I think that's a fair offer. I might shoot a little higher, like if you're a winning team of Mike Evans, you know. But if that's where you have to settle, then that's fine. All right, guys, that's it. Ultimately, we can't answer everyone's questions, but we appreciate y'all for being here. If you do want your question prioritized and answered every stream, then go ahead and check out our website. It's the pinned comment in the chat, and ask us a question there. Every time we stream, you'll be the first questions that we get to. And last thing I'll say as well is if you don't have an account over on the Flock Fantasy site, definitely get one. You can sign up for free with the promo code LAND, flockfantasy.com/land. When you sign up for a free account, you'll get expert consensus rankings, the team analyzer, and the trade calculator for free as a thank you. Have a good day. Go check out my stash video that's up on the channel, and all love.
Love.